trade WCW.
What in the fuck is he doing here? Monday Night Raw. Monday Nitro.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Brett Steve Brett. The new world order, brother. Let's get this. We are at war.
WCW Monday Nitro, also November 6th of the year 2000.
The nut is loose on Nitro, they explained.
That was that reference to Steiner, I believe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the two pre-show things were clips from Thunder, where Sean Stasiak, Meat, vowed to prove Kevin Nash wrong by winning the WCW World Heavyweight title. Hey, maybe there's still time. I'm sure it's sitting on a shelf somewhere in a warehouse in Connecticut.
In fact, they're out of time.
Sting arrives at the building. In all his genres and every version of Sting, in every company, in every promotion, in every match, and every gimmick, in the ring, not one time ever has he looked as ridiculous as he did in his street clothes here. He was dressed as the Kool-Aid Man. Everything was bright red. Everything was 9 sizes too big. Steiner hit him, probably because he hated his clothes so much. And here's where they said...
And they immediately cut away.
And here's where they said the nut is loose. Somewhere in here, I believe Buff Bagwell saved Sting. So we cut from this to Kevin Nash and the Natural Born Thrillers. They're muttering to each other. I guess this week Mike Sanders was in charge, because they said something about how he can get the two of them booked a tag match or a three-way. At this point, I was very unsure what the hell they were talking about. And their gimmick now is they do the he's SOL, and you know what that means, and they all laugh at it.
It's painful.
The most cringeworthy... It's supposed to be unfunny, but they are too successful at being unfunny.
I'll talk about this more in the next segment.
Lex Luger comes out for a promo.
Okay, so Lex Luger comes out.
We have reached the next segment.
He walks down to the ringside area and he says, "Mark Madden, will you please stand up? Last week I heard you out here trying to be an expert on body fat in athletes." Now, a little bit of backstory. Luger always claimed he was 4% body fat, which, by the way, he never was. But he always claimed 4. Last week, he came back and he claimed 5. He said 5%. Madden noted he's gained some weight or something. He made some comment about how he'd gained a little bit of body fat. Because Luger had gone from 4 to 5 out of his own mouth. So, in real life, Luger was furious. This man called me fat. He's ranted about Madden backstage. This was unplanned. Madden did not know this was coming. Luger comes out and lectures him. He says, "Madden, look at you. You are an endomorph. A gigantic glob of cellulite."
That is what he said.
"I am Lex Luger, an example of mesomorphic magnificence. I am in the greatest shape of any athlete on earth. I want you to sit down and shut up about people's physiques." He walks to the ring. Man turns to everyone else and says, "So much for the heels working together. Thanks for having my back." They moved on with the show.
And Hudson says, "You're going to have to rewrite your scripted ad-libs." That was funny. So Luger now turns to Goldberg. Goldberg's streak was an insult to the legends of the past.
What?
I don't know.
I don't know what he's talking
No one else is allowed to win matches because Jack Briscoe did 20 years ago. Promises the streak will not happen again. He's going to end it at Mayhem. Says Goldberg has been writing a book. And speaking of books and magazines, I've got a copy of WCW Magazine here. Produced in part by my friend Ross Foreman. Ross Foreman's a WCW guy. I believe he's still working for Impact. He calls Ross Foreman into the ring and says, "Ross, you are the one who puts this magazine together. What do you think was the better article in this week's magazine? The Goldberg article or your interview with the Total Package Lex Luger?" and Ross Foreman's confused. He looks at the magazine and says, Lex, we talked about Goldberg, but there's no interview with you in here. Which, of course, is Luger's point. The magazine's been ignoring him.
Maybe the announcers are like, you haven't been on TV in 6 months. Why would there be an article about you?
Lex says, you have pictures of geeks from the wrestling school or women who would take their clothes off for a box of protein bars. I don't know why. That made me laugh. So, of course, he puts Ross Foreman in the torture rack. Refs come out, plead with him to stop. Tony Schiavone was great here. This is a dangerous hold for athletes. Imagine what it can be for Ross Foreman.
Dude, it was super dangerous because they stretched him out and put an oxygen mask on him. What?
He racked him so hard he broke his lungs.
My God, that's terrible.
So Luger promises Goldberg is next to mayhem. This whole thing was not very good. It was way too long, but it had a point and led somewhere. So
kind of. All I could think of was like, this is arguing on Twitter in the year 2000.
It actually was.
Lex is out here mad that he's not in the damn magazine. He's going to beat up the guy who wrote the magazine. Yes. Like, come on. I deal with enough of this on a daily basis.
Goldberg arrives conveniently right after Lex finishes. Pam is interviewing Kevin Nash and the Thrillers.
Okay, so Nash is pretending to read Goldberg's book, and then he starts his promo. In the middle of his promo, he throws the book, and you hear the book go land on the ground. And he's doing his promo, and then he goes, pick that up. And he goes back to his promo. He says, we lost a member of the Thrillers last week, but we're a strong group now. And he's just doing this promo, and it hit me like a ton of bricks all at once. Nash is out there along with all of the natural-born Thrillers. There's Palumbo, Jindrak, Stasiak was part of them. Reno is there.
O'Hare and Sanders.
O'Hare, Sanders. I'm looking at every single one of them, and it's like, which one of these guys actually made it big in this business and became a superstar? The answer was none of them.
Man, Jindrak.
No. I mean, I guess if you talk about going to Mexico,
he's the most successful.
He's the most successful, but like every single one of them, because of their size and look, you would look at them and like they all should have been superstars. But what did they do? They put them with Kevin Nash.
Ah, yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, granted, he wasn't really their mentor. He might have mentored them to a degree or whatever, but it's a storyline. He's their mentor, okay? Mm-hmm. This dude goes out on TV every week and makes a total mockery of professional wrestling. They're new guys in this business, and whatever storyline, non-storyline, they're there learning from Kevin Nash. He's a star. And he's out there, and everything is a joke. Everything is comedy. Everything is who cares. Everything is unprofessional. And I was just like, no wonder nobody made it. You know what I'm saying?
I do. He's probably not the best role model you could have.
No, he was the worst possible role model in this company.
Well, on top of that, in the short term, trying to get these guys stars, and the best thing that Jindrak and O'Hare and Chuck Palumbo, they're all pretty muscular, but those three guys are very tall. But you know what? Kevin Nash is taller. So they put him with Nash, and they don't look so tall anymore all of a sudden. Now, are we sure he threw the book? Or does something just fall over randomly?
I think he threw the book. Or he gave the book to someone and they threw it. I don't know.
Maybe that's it, yeah.
But anyway.
So, Stasiak shows up. He apologizes for walking out of them last week. Kevin Nash is not dumb. Tells him to hit the bricks. Stasiak says, I don't want to fight Reno tonight. Kevin Nash, I will be in your corner. Someone here we should point out, Nash challenged Booker for the title in this show. We get a Team Canada promo. They're also talking about the election, but at least it's just for heel heat. Whoever wins, you lose because you're all still Americans. Don't vote. Immigrate. He asks for the Canadian anthem to be played. Kwee-wee comes out instead. Lance is appalled at Kwee-wee's gear. So we get Lance Storm versus Kwee-wee. Only thing of note is that Paisley for the first time mentions Angry Allen.
Yeah.
When Kwee-wee gets mad, he stops being an effeminate hairdresser and becomes Angry Allen. Wasn't angry enough here.
Can't believe this company went out of business. Ideas like this.
It's amazing. Lance wins with the Maple Leaf.
All right, there's a lot to talk about before we even get to that. So Kiwi's now just dousing himself in glitter. Head to toe.
Yeah.
So within like a minute, Lance Storm is now covered head to toe in glitter.
He is.
The ring is covered in glitter. So basically throughout the night, everybody ends up getting covered in this glitter, okay? But at least you know, well, they're covered in glitter because Kiwi was covered in glitter earlier, right?
Sure.
Okay. Well, this was one of those nights where they taped Nitro, or they aired Nitro live, and then they taped Thunder.
Aha!
Okay? So, for Thunder, everyone comes out covered in glitter. Well, there's a man in WCW who did not want to work Thunder covered in glitter. And his name was Goldberg. And I believe this is the last time that Kiwi ever wears this level of glitter to the ring.
Very good. Very good.
Anyway, after the match, Paisley is screaming for Code Bad Hair Day.
Yes.
Out comes Ming. Ming clears the ring. I thought I was on drugs. I've been sick. I thought maybe I took too much Sudafed. I'm like, Ming, Kiwi, and Paisley are a trio?
Yes.
What?
There was like a dozen times in this Nitro when they talked about something I could not remember when it happened, and they said it was last week. I presume they mean last week on Thunder, but I seriously like 5 times checked to make sure I was watching the right show.
All I know is the very next segment, Gene's with Bill, and Bill's talking about Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yes.
And he goes, I have no idea why Bam Bam Bigelow's been sitting at home for the last 5 months. And when he said that, I just thought, you know who else has been sitting at home for like 5 months, it seems, is Ming. So apparently somebody was like, should do something with Ming. What should we do? Oh. Kiwi. Let's put him with Kiwi and Paisley. God damn, that's a great idea. Call him. Like, this is what they're coming up with.
Yes. They've got all week to think about this, too.
Ming, Kiwi, and Paisley are a trio now.
Yeah.
A hairdresser who gets mad and becomes Angry Allen with this crazy guy, this savage.
With bigger hair and even bigger pants.
It's
Big
ridiculous.
hair and even bigger pants.
It's preposterous.
Screwed up my own line. So about this here Goldberg interview, which, as you mentioned, involves Bam Bam Bigelow, who Goldberg says showed up last week and demanded a match with me. This is the point. I actually paused the show to check the date and make sure I had the right thing, because when Bigelow first showed up in WCW in like 98, that's what he did, is challenge, come out of nowhere, and demand a match with Goldberg. I thought he had the wrong show by years. But it didn't. I had the right show. And it really hit me later when Bam Bam came out for his match, but I realized it doesn't matter what show you're watching the network. What year, what promotion, what's going on. At some point, very soon, in that promotion, in that year, Bam Bam Bigelow will return or debut. We are watching 1988 NWA, where Bam Bam is new on the scene.
Yep.
We are watching 92 Superstars, where Bam Bam is making his return, but they're pretending it's a debut.
Yeah.
And now we're watching 2000 Nitro, where Bam Bam Bigelow is making his big return.
Yes.
I can't avoid him.
Yeah.
Goldberg at least did acknowledge here that they had many matches prior, he and Bam Bam, and he would beat him again. Says he's sick of Lex Luger's crap. And then Lex interrupts, but it's a distraction, so Bam Bam can attack Bill Goldberg from behind with a pipe. They lay him out, and this attack is so devastating that they walk off, and 5 seconds later, Goldberg stands up and yells at him.
A total low-rent WCW segment. That's what this was.
Sean Stasiak versus Reno, falls count anywhere.
Yeah.
Sean Stasiak comes out. They play Reno's music, no Reno. Play it again, no Reno. They go backstage, Reno has been laid out, thrown through a table, and they throw this check on him.
Did they not show Chronic sauntering by?
I didn't see it.
Am I imagining things? I could have sworn I saw them walking by when they cut backstage.
I saw the Thrillers running down the hallway and finding Reno laid out through a table. They may have. I may have missed it.
I think they were walking and the Thrillers ran past them.
They may have. That's entirely possible. So then it's announced, of course. So Shawn Stasiak wins via forfeit.
In a Falls Count Anywhere match.
In a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Why didn't he just run back there and pin him in the rubble?
For the hardcore title.
Yeah.
But they're sure to point out, of course, a title can only change hands via pinfall or submission.
Yes.
So you're telling me a forfeit is not a submission?
No. If I don't want to face you, I can just forfeit, and I'm still the champion.
So if you're a champion and you don't want to lose a title, just never show up.
Yes.
You'll lose by forfeit, but you'll keep the title.
Yes, that's their new rules.
That's fucking dumb.
This Sanders, he probably made that one up.
After the break, Reno has come to. He says, whoever laid him out, it was more than one guy.
Has to be.
There are two guys in Chronic. So
It's Chronic.
may have been Chronic.
I think it was Chronic.
Flair comes out for
Then
a promo.
Nash and the Thrillers do another stupid SOL comedy routine as their buddy is laying there in the rubble, dead.
Yeah.
Now, I got to start this Ric Flair thing here. You can finish. Flair comes down and he's going to run
I
down
wonder
this
what point you're going to make.
He's going to run down this pay-per-view, okay? And first off, he's trying to push this as one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time. And he still needs a piece of paper
As
to
he is
remember what
reading
matches are on this paper.
Exactly, yes.
So, I had to hear it, and you know this. Some guy on the board was so mad that I keep calling him Erection. Because his name is Hugh G. Rection, not Erection. So mad. The sanctity of the name Hugh G. Rection. The temerity of me to make light of this. Well, Ric Flair comes out and he literally signs Lance Storm versus Huge Erection. That's what he said.
That's exactly what he said.
If you think I'm making that up, I'm not.
I'll read the date. Check the date again here.
That is
November 6th of the year 2000. Right about the midpoint of the show.
The best part is he doesn't laugh. He doesn't crack.
No. In
This
his
is a
mind,
matter of fact.
Lance Storm going face to face with a huge erection is money.
That's what he said.
So, that's one match. He also announces Luger versus Goldberg, even though I thought it was official before. And finally, Booker T versus Scott Steiner in a steel cage match for the World Championship, where he says the winner will be the flagship of this company, along with Bill Goldberg and Sting and names of the past.
Yeah.
Now, about Scott Steiner. Steiner's conduct is unacceptable.
Yes.
He respects Steiner for, among other things, being a national amateur champion. Which I'm pretty sure he was not. Eventually, he lists all of Steiner's credentials, but says if you can't just manhandle everyone and attack people, eventually you're going to lose your job. So Steiner comes out, manhandles Flair, got him in the corner, threatening to do all sorts of terrible things. Booker saves, sends Steiner packing.
Okay. So, Flair doesn't want Steiner to be a crazy man. Steiner comes out and he's a crazy man. Okay? Flair's solution to this problem, okay, is that the cage match at Mayhem is still on. But now, in the cage, he is going to hang a straitjacket 12 feet over the ring. And the first man to procure the straitjacket can put it on their opponent and then beat them. Mm-hmm. That's going to solve this problem. That is your solution to Scott Steiner running in and beating people up.
He makes this booking, and then immediately turns to Booker and says, I'm sorry, I've put you in a tough spot.
What?
Now, on top of all this, I don't know if this made it better or worse, but he did clarify it's still pinfall or submission to win. There's not first guy to get the jacket wins or first guy to put it on your opponent. You just can if you want to.
You ever tried to swaddle a baby that doesn't want to be swaddled?
Honestly, I have not.
Okay, well imagine trying to put Scott Steiner in a straitjacket.
Probably stronger than your baby.
He doesn't want to go in.
I don't think it'd be very easy.
This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Then Flair adds like, if you beat anyone up again, you're fired. I'm like, well, why didn't you just do that and not put a straitjacket in the cage?
I don't have an answer.
This is ridiculous.
Speaking of ridiculous,
Oh.
the following is a paid announcement by Jimmy Hart. So Jimmy repeats his claim about willing to wrestle any radio DJ in the ring on Nitro, calls out the biggest stars, Bubba the Love Sponge.
I can't believe I didn't accept in the year 2000. We were part of IATA.
That's true. I don't know how big internet radio in the year 2000 was compared to 2019. But he calls out the biggest names, Bubba the Love Sponge.
He didn't ask for listenership. He just asked for national DJ.
Calls out Howard Stern, and of course calls out Man Cow, who, for those of you who have forgotten, was in fact a radio star for 15 minutes. He's still doing radio somewhere, apparently. But of course, they're in Chicago, which is where Man Cow is based. He arrives. Jimmy changes his whole tune, sucks up to him. Man Cow intimidates him, starts to manhandle him. The remaining 2 members of 3 Count save. And that's that.
Yeah, so 3 Count broke up on Thunder. Shane and Shannon turned on Evan.
Didn't Evan blow out his ankle at one point?
Yeah, in that ladder match, and he kept wrestling. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Their backs feel better now that they don't have to carry him anymore. Are they now 2 Count, or are they still 3 Count?
They call them 3 Count here.
That's
There's only
weird.
2 of them. Now, on top of that, also, apparently, maybe on the same episode of Thunder, Jamie-san got kicked out of the Young Dragons. All right? So then, out of nowhere, totally at random, we have 3 Count versus the Young Dragons versus Mark Jindrak and Sean O'Hare for the tag team titles.
Man, you thought people were lost in that Raw match. Oh, my God. Nobody knows where they're supposed to be. It was like they were in 3-dimensional space. Like, everyone is just baffled. They're trying to get into position. I guess they were in 3-dimensional space, but it was like they were floating.
I knew what you meant.
Yes. So, there's just... no one knows where they're supposed to be. No one knows where they're supposed to get to. No one knows what they're doing. They're lost. Then we have a run-in in a 2-minute match. And finally, Plum and O'Hare win. I don't even know how, nor do I care. And they immediately note, those Battle Dome guys are doing something at ringside. Stop. Those Battle Dome guys?
Yeah, Brian.
Were they at ringside prior to this? Did they mention this ever?
No, not until now.
Okay, suddenly there's Battle Dome guys at ringside. They're all just being agitated, jumping around. There's more. Jamie-san now runs down.
Yeah.
Now he's Jamie Noble. He's a white guy with no mask. They just alert us it's Jamie-san. He starts running wild with chair shots, but he does not kill Evan, who also had run down. Apparently they're going to be a team. So we'll have 2 Count, 2 Dragons, and these 2 guys.
The Dragon Count.
The Dragon Count, whatever.
3 Young.
It was my program with Buddy Wayne all over again. We will
actually is.
we will team together against guys, then we'll break up and fight each other, and then we'll break up with the other partners and get back together again. So we're always with each other, no matter what.
Yes.
That's what this was.
The same humans are in the ring, just the alliances shift.
There was 1,000 things going on here.
This is all true. In 2 minutes. For the record, Sean O'Hare hit a springboard senton for the win.
Oh, whoop-de-doo.
Actually, it's worth pointing out, much like Raw, there was interference in this match. I guess it led to the finish, but it wasn't the guy who got interfered with who lost. But anyway, all of that happened. Smooth arrives with a limo. He refuses to open the door. There is something we missed. There is worth talking about. During that mayhem in the prior match, the announcers were teasing, in addition to bringing back, I've already forgotten who else Ric Flair brought back, he's going to bring back somebody with a good attitude. They kept saying this. So after commercial, out comes Diamond Dallas Page.
He's back.
He must have been the guy in the limo. He must be the guy with a good attitude.
His promo starts with him saying, they pulled me back in. I tried to get out, but they pulled me back in. What do I have to be negative about, he says. He convinces himself, and then he immediately tells his fan that he sucks, by the way. He convinces himself that he's got a job that he loves, that he gets paid for. I'm like, you're in WCW. You don't love this job. This job sucks.
In this same promo, I'm not sure if it was before or after he said that, but in this same promo, he talked about a match. First he says, I'm shooting with you. This is a shoot. I had a non-televised championship match with Booker T in Amarillo, Texas. And I was very negative, he says, probably due to all the crap happening in this company.
Yeah.
That's what he said. But he went out in Amarillo. He got a big pop. he had a moment of clarity, he says. He's going to come back, and he's just going to have fun. He explains in about 2 minutes, Ric Flair called him and brought him back. Took him forever to say this. Then Page addresses the Battle Dome guys. Now, for those of you who don't remember, Battle Dome was basically an American Gladiators knockoff. So all these big jacked up dudes with wacky characters are there shouting at him. So Page calls out Buff Bagwell, the Cat, and Rick Steiner. And everyone stops to cut promos on the Battle Dome guys.
Shad cuts his promo saying, if you guys come over this rail, I'll beat your asses. Bagwell says, DDP, do I have to say this or can you? You do it.
He used a homophobic slur that begins with the letter Q. Battle Dome Qs, he says.
He said this twice.
Loudly, clearly.
The announcers are appalled.
Yeah.
He's a babyface.
Yes, that's a good point. So that's not the point, but at some point, the Battle Dome guys do jump the rail. There's this big pull apart. The place is going nuts.
Some dude named T Money went after Rick Steiner.
Well, yes. That going after Rick Steiner, Brian, was a
Big
mistake.
mistake.
A big mistake. But T Money, who's just this big, bald, black guy in a blue suit with sunglasses on, whatever, and then the sunglasses come off, that's Terry Crews! I had no idea he was in Battle Dome!
Now you know.
Terry Crews, Brian, in the year 2019, except for Ric Flair, is probably the most famous person on the show. And he
T
was
Money, baby.
T Money in Battle Dome. So there you go. We're going to get WCW
T
versus...
Dummy.
Ha-ha!
Went after Rick Steiner.
That was
Oh, man.
Thankfully, he was pulled back.
That ended poorly.
He had 2 decades to get more famous after this.
Then Buff dropped another
Q-bomb.
Q-bomb.
Yes.
I could not...
He was so proud of that line, he had to say it twice.
Think of all of the things that they edit off the network.
Yeah.
And that's on there.
So Pam...
Still over yet?
Pam accuses Stasiak of attacking Reno. He denies this. He denies the attack on Chuck Palumbo last week. He'll prove he's a man of his word and a thriller at heart. Jeff Jarrett and Scott Steiner versus Buff Bagwell and Sting had every tag match you ever saw. There was one great spot, which I'm sure I've seen somewhere before, but they got the heat on Sting. And he goes to the sunset flip, and Jarrett's fighting and windmilling like Fandango. And Buff hits the ring, punches Jarrett so he falls down and jumps right back out. That was awesome.
What was not awesome was Bagwell gets hot tag, hits a blockbuster on Steiner. He's going for the cover. Jeff Jarrett hits the ring, waffles him with that guitar. Mm-hmm. Every Jeff Jarrett match ever.
Yeah.
There's guitar shards all over the ring. Uh-huh. The announcers are like, how is the ref allowing this? The ref not only counts as the man is surrounded by pieces of broken guitar, he moves the pieces out of the way so that he can find a place to count.
Yes.
This show sucks. And actually, he didn't count because I guess Steiner put Buff in the recliner. So he moved the stuff out of the way so he could just sit there, I guess.
Kneel.
I don't know.
Lance joins the announce desk.
Covered in glitter.
He was. Repeats the claim that General Erection never pinned him for that U.S. title. Wants to know why Alex Wright is getting a shot at that title before him. Tony insists that Alex has won several matches lately. And Lance points out he had won 3 titles and was never beat for any of them. Which is true, because WCW sucks. So, for the U.S. title, Alex Wright versus Huge Erection. The gimmick is Alex is a promo in German, which Disco will translate. They do that for a while.
But of course, whatever Alex says, Disco says whatever he wants.
You can clearly tell it's not...
Alex buries the crowd. Disco says, he loves you people here.
Yes. So during this match, the only thing of note is when General Erection picks up this big German and press slams him. That was impressive.
I was just watching this, and Major Guns takes the referee, and Alex Wright goes up top. Huge Erection shoves him off. Major Guns still has the ref. She has a ref for like 5 minutes. Like, there's no reason.
Have you seen her?
There's no reason to have the referee. Like, he must just be waiting for the cue, and she just, like, forgot she had to give him the cue. They're just chatting. Finally, the ref turns around. Hugh hits the moonsault for the pin. This show is ridiculous. And then Hacksaw Jim Duggan is there for a promo. So, elections the next day. Hacksaw's a heel. But he's at heart a patriot. So, Hacksaw goes on TV and he says, I'm going to tell you all what's wrong with America. He's mocking America in the United States. He goes, my big complaint is that only 30% of you Americans go to the polls. He's basically doing this promo encouraging you to go vote and be a loyal American.
Scolding you
under the guise of burying America. It was actually fascinating and very clever.
For the sake of completeness, I will note that in that huge erection match, Disco Inferno tried to interfere, but everyone in MIA chased him up the ramp. This is during the 5 minutes that Major Guns had the ref. Pamela asks Booker T about Ric Flair's promo. Booker basically says he's going to face Kevin Nash tonight. Then he's going to face Scott Steiner at Mayhem. And he will die before he gives up this title.
Spoiler.
I'm happy to report that's not true.
That didn't happen. He's on WWE backstage right now, burying Seth Rollins.
Goldberg versus Bam Bam Bigelow, who, as I noted, is a part of every roster and every promotion of all time. Lex comes out to watch. When he does this, Goldberg is distracted. He walks over to the side of the ring facing the stage, and he points at Lex and says, your time's coming, Luger! And as he says this, Bam Bam comes up from behind and grabs him for a suplex, and Goldberg's eyes grow wide and he says, oh shit! And he gets suplexed back onto his head. I laughed. I laughed and I laughed and I laughed. So Goldberg hit the spear and the jackhammer and he won.
That was a tough jackhammer.
As a big man by a guy with big man, a jackhammer by a guy working on one leg. But he's Goldberg. And the place was absolutely crazy because for all that has gone wrong over the past 5 years almost in this company, Goldberg is unbreakable. And everyone loves him.
They've screwed him up in every conceivable way, and he's still the most over guy by 10.
But yes, it's just it's amazing. Steiner comes out, cuts a promo on Flair, says something about how Booker's mom didn't know who his dad was.
Actually, it was a really funny line, because Booker always says, save the drama for your mama. And Steiner says, the only drama is she doesn't know who the daddy is.
Got it. Yeah.
That was Scott Steiner was clever.
Oh, sure. He's a college-educated man.
Yeah.
Booker T versus Kevin Nash. Crowd is demanding Hall.
Is that what they were chanting?
We want Hall. Steiner says they're chanting, we want Pump.
It sounded like a CM Punk chant.
I'm pretty sure it was Scott Hall, because Nash acknowledged it, so that's what I guess.
Well, Nash got yelled at again to not bring up Hall's name.
Aha. So they do whatever. The ref gets bumped. Stasiak runs out, hits Booker with brass knucks. Stasiak, if you're gonna run in and hit somebody with brass knucks, like hold him up so the place can see how shiny they are and you have something in your hand.
Yeah, he hits the guy, and then they have to zoom in on his hand.
The camera's zipping around trying to follow his hand to see there's brass knuckles there. So Nash is happy. He goes to the power bomb, but as soon as he hooks him up, Stasiak hits him with the knucks, and thus we get another tainted victory for the worst champion ever, Booker T in WCW.
Yeah.
Stasiak, by the way, is standing in the ring as the ref counts 3.
This is their next big program.
Stasiak,
Kevin Nash and Sean Stasiak.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
No, honestly.
I can, because my final words here of this report, it's Nitro. There's nothing more that needs to be said in this review. Let's get these finishes. Get out of here.
The finishes on this show were, Brian, clean submission.
What? Flabbergasted.
Forfeit.
Must be the Lance match.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Forfeit in a title match that does not result in a title change. Pin after interference backfires. Submission after weapon shot. Clean pin.
Excuse me. Submission after weapon shot.
Yes. That's
okay.
Guitar and submission.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
And then pin after both men are hit with knucks and the interfering party is still standing in the ring.
Wow. Submission after weapon shot.
Yeah. hit him with a weapon, and then made him submit.
I'm going to knock you out with a guitar, but then put you in a hold.
That's what happened.
Okay.
That's exactly what happened,
It
Brian.
is what happened. It's just ridiculous.
Of course it is. It's Nitro.
Completely ridiculous.
You were the one who said it's Nitro.
I know, but that even caught me off guard when I heard that. All right. Well, we're done, everybody.
We are at war.
Shazam! That baby's still not happy.
No.
It's being changed and...
Oh, all kinds of terrible things.
It's rough.
WCW Monday Nitro, November 13th of the year 2000. They're in London this week. Mentioned this on the Australian tour. The crowd was much hotter than usual.
Yeah.
Crowd was hot all night for this show. They should have never come back to the U.S. Just tour the world. World Championship Wrestling.
No, what they should have done is this should have been the season finale, and they just ended.
And never do another show? Well,
Although the show sucked.
Yeah.
I don't know why the fans... I guess there's just nothing to do over there at that point. Because, like, how... Seriously, how could you like this show?
well,
You know what I'm saying?
it was a bad show. It had Goldberg.
I mean,
That was the only good thing on the entire show.
It was.
to be fair, when's the last time WCW was in England?
There was nothing better going on in England than
Just
WCW.
saying, when something comes around you haven't seen forever, you make a point to go see it.
So, on Thunder, the natural-born Thrillers turned on Kevin Nash and beat him up. And Goldberg beat up Bam Bam Bigelow. He is now focused on Lex Luger at the pay-per-view. The locker room empties. Everyone comes out to ringside. And I do mean everyone, except Scott Steiner. Booker T is out there. The Luger's out there being all chummy with Buff Bagwell's chummy with Luger. Luger's trying to blow him off. I thought they were feuding. I'd forgotten. Tony says something about having an envelope that he has to keep secret, and then it's never mentioned again. So Flair comes out finally. He is there to do a promo, state of the company address.
I think it was probably the list of matches.
Ah.
Like it was a format, so we'd know what to talk about. But he couldn't reveal it. He said, I can't reveal it until after Flair speaks. So I think Flair gave the matches, and the matches were in the envelope.
I see.
Why I thought about this, I have no idea.
So Flair, who is CEO, immediately starts talking about all the power Mike Sanders has as commissioner, but at least he finally said and explained plainly, flatly, I outrank you, I can overrule you whenever I want. Fine. There's the pecking order. He points out Sanders has not defended his cruiser heavyweight title.
Right.
He did correct himself. Gave Sanders 48 hours to do so I assume there's a match on Thunder.
Well, I hope so, because he didn't defend it on this show.
He did not. Promises the first ever London Lethal Lottery. He explains. 8 wrestlers picked at random.
Vinny, hold on a second. Dude. So, there's 8 people. Stars, he says.
Sure.
Okay? We're already off the rails. There's 8 stars that will be picked at random
That's correct.
to form 4 teams.
Yeah.
The 4 teams will wrestle tonight.
Yeah.
When one team remains, those 2 will compete against each other on Thunder, the 2 teammates.
Right.
Correct.
And the winner gets a championship match on Nitro the night after Mayhem.
You have all that correct.
Okay.
Please.
So he says, here are the random Lethal Lottery teams. Okay? We have Mike Awesome and Bam Bam Bigelow,
A heck of a team.
who it is noted are feuding.
Right.
Random.
We have Scott Steiner and Sting, who it's noted are feuding.
Right.
Random.
We have got Alex Wright and the Disco Inferno,
His tag team partner.
who are a team.
Yes.
And
How
in-
random.
And in the final random match, which was actually the second one, but I'm doing it last,
Sure.
he announces that Lex Luger will be teaming with Booker T. So the champion is in a tournament to determine the number 1 contender to his own title?
Yes.
Yes.
Nobody mentioned this.
No. I will one-up you. The champion is in this, as is the top contender at Mayhem.
Right.
And they pointed out what happens if Steiner wins this tournament and then wins the title at Mayhem.
What happens if Steiner is in the tournament and doesn't win the title, Booker defends against himself the next night?
We may get that. There's all... Like, this all took 0 seconds of thought. And yet somehow it made it through. There's so many ways this could have gone wrong for them. So Steiner eventually comes out. A brawl is supposed to break out, but no one knows what to do. So for a while, they're all just standing there staring at each other.
They can't figure out how to brawl.
That's what happened. Finally, there's a big giant battle royal. The crowd's, Brian noted, the giant battle royal always gets over. Mm-hmm. The crowd is super hot. Everyone's going nuts. Now, it's one thing when you don't have a finish, so you say, let's just go to commercial. They didn't have a finish, so they cut away from this big giant fight to show the natural-born thrillers walking through the parking lot. Mm-hmm. Then they went to commercial. Okay. Vito has a meeting with Crowbar.
Oh, my God. So apparently they had a match. Okay? Correct me if I miss any of this. They had a match. Or they were in a match. I don't know if they had a match against each other. But somehow, Crowbar ends up with the hardcore title. Mm-hmm. Vito thinks because he helped him get the title, he's also the champion.
Sure.
Okay. So, Vito congratulates them on becoming co-champions. Crowbar says, I won this. I deserve to get this belt. Vito mumbles through a promo challenging him for later. And then Crowbar says, yes, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, as Vito is doing his entire promo, he's doing bad shadowboxing.
Yes.
Through the whole thing.
Right.
He's like, hey, he's doing the bad, how pro wrestlers do it, like, hey, we won the title together. Crowbar's like, yeah, we. I'm like, what's happening here?
You look like a Looney Tune right now.
So did Vito. That's my point. What's he doing this for in the middle of an apparently important promo?
Hey, you want to fight that?
I literally punched the microphone
Yes, you did.
legitimately that time.
Is it injured?
I'm injured.
Well. Suddenly, I do mean suddenly, we cut to Lance Storm, who storms up, in fact, to Mike Sanders and says, quote, "This place is crazy. Mm-hmm. I can't wait till Mayhem. I need erection tonight."
Excuse me.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That is what he said. Don't get mad at me.
Yes. He didn't like crazy. Mayhem was fine. Or something like that.
So, Sanders says, "You'll get your erection tonight." He also announces...
It's a dick joke. It's funny.
I can't help it. We're doing it for
But it's not our dick joke. It's their dick joke.
I'm just telling you what happened.
We are recapping what happened.
Yes.
Factually. If NPR reviewed this, it would be the same thing.
I don't think
That's
so.
his name. Erection.
He also announces, Mike Sanders does, that he got Scott Steiner anger management courses.
If they screw this up,
of course they will.
I quit.
Of course they will. He says, "Steiner, I got you anger management." He holds out a clipboard. Steiner says, "Yeah, whatever." He signs. "I'm going to find out who made me and Stinger a team." It was Flair.
Yeah.
We all saw this.
Yep.
Unless you want to attribute it to the blind draw, in which case it's God. Those are your two options.
God don't want any part of that.
Crowbar versus Big Vito.
Another hardcore match.
I will at least say this. They brawled to the back. They brawled back to the ring.
They brawled into this table they claim is catering.
They said there was...
I'm like, you got 400 people under contract, and you got one table? That's catering?
Randomly in a hallway is a table, which they noted had tea and crumpets and fish and chips.
That's right.
Because they're in London, you see.
Right.
Now, I will say at least this for this match. They set up a table, and the place goes nuts, and then when they teased going through the table, everyone started to boo. Hey, there was something there, Brian. I know I've seen 700 hardcore matches like
Vinny,
you have too.
Let me tell everybody what actually happened, okay? Vito sets up a table outside. He puts Crowbar on it. He walks to the steps. He walks up the steps. He climbs to the bottom rope. He climbs to the middle rope. He climbs to the top rope. He braces himself. He stands up tall. And Crowbar rolls off the table.
That happened.
I'm like, you spent a fucking hour getting up there, and then he rolls out of the way. So they keep going, and then the table ends up in the ring.
Yeah.
And he puts Crowbar on the ring, and he exits the ring. and he climbs onto the middle rope.
Deliberate
and he
man.
climbs onto the top rope. And he braces himself. And he stands up. And this son of a bitch rolls off the table again. I'm like, fuck. And then, if I'm not furious enough, there is a ref bump.
A what now?
A ref bump in a hardcore match that doesn't even have DQs.
That's strange.
Why is there a ref bump? Well, because Reno was going to interfere, and they wanted to make sure the ref in a no DQ match didn't see interference. Reno comes out, he whacks the guy with a bat, and then Crowbar superplexes him through the table and wins.
And the place went crazy.
They went crazy. Okay, so fine, I'm wrong. But this sucked. I hated it.
Okay. Kevin Nash arrives with his hands in his pockets. How has it taken us this long to realize Orange Cassidy is just the evolution of Big Sexy Kevin Nash?
No, he's not.
I was thinking about this. It's funny that Nash and also Triple H kind of have the same role going in their different companies. They're not doing anything. They're the cool heels.
Yeah.
It's amazing, really.
Funny how it works out that way. Gene interviews Mike Awesome and Bam Bam Bigelow. Mike Awesome reminds us all that apparently on last week's show, Bam Bam Bigelow beat up his friend Crowbar. But he is willing to put all of that aside to have a chance to earn a title shot. Then Bam Bam says, hey, you got to worry about tonight. Like, he just said he's going to put all that aside and worry about tonight. Thrillers come out for a promo. So Mike Sanders in his debut segment cut a promo I thought was horrible. Since then, he's been much better. This was back to being horrible again. He's droning on. Kevin Nash is a monster. He's a manipulator. He is a politician. He beats people up. Until last week, now he's SOL. Horrible fake laugh. Horrible fake laugh. Horrible fake laugh. Stasiak starts to talk. Stevie Ray says, this guy's putting me to sleep.
Dude, he said supposedly. I was done with him then.
Which one, Stasiak or Stevie?
Stasiak did.
So eventually Nash comes out. He says, this is one of several lines in the show I wrote down word for word. I told you a combustion engine runs on gases, and you decided you could be pole position in the Indy 500. What in the hell is he talking about?
He thought that was funny.
So Sanders challenges him to a four corners match against three Thrillers, and Nash accepts. Gene interviews Sting, who in a very Sting manner tells Steiner if they work together, they can both get what they want. Not sure how that works since they have to fight each other, but hey. Elix Skipper goes to hit on Miss Jones, the cat's valet. She says no because, quote, you're not over like the cat is.
Well, she's right.
And she is right. The cat appears, throws water on Elix. Elix vows to take his girl and his pride. And I simply wrote, well, this was dumb.
You know, there was a weird line in that Sting interview, by the way, where he says, if we could just get through this match tonight, we can both get what we want. Steiner, a title shot at Mayhem, and me back in the mix. So he's admitting that if we square off, he'll win.
Basically.
The Steiner would?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, no, Steiner gets the match at Mayhem. And Sting gets
If
the
he
match.
beats Sting.
Well, Sting's trying to... Steiner has the match at Mayhem either way.
Yeah.
I see.
He gets it the night after.
I got it.
Yes.
I got it. I forgot.
To be fair, I was going to say, it's possible Sting also was completely confused as to what was going on.
Well, I mean...
So we got Sting and Scott Steiner versus Mike Awesome and Bam Bam Bigelow. I mostly wrote down, here is where they pointed out, they reminded us all, Steiner has the title shot at Mayhem no matter what.
Yes.
I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. About the match, I simply wrote, they do stuff for 3 minutes, and Steiner beats Awesome with Avalanche Exploder and Recliner.
So, as we'll find out even more in the next segment, why would you book a tournament and build your entire show around it if it's just bullshit?
Because it's WCW.
They had a 3-minute match, and we're supposed to care about any of this, okay? Then, no sooner should I get upset about that. They cut backstage to the dancing dildos. They are meeting with Chronic. Mm-hmm. And Disco says, you know, Alex and I don't really want to fight each other. Okay, hold on a second. The World fucking Championship means so little to you,
right,
that you two guys are unwilling to wrestle each other. Okay, that's number one.
Okay.
Disco then says, so on Thunder, you guys won a lot of money from us, so we want you to take our spot in the tournament. Chronic says, well, that doesn't sound like a good idea. I'm like, so you two care so little about the World Championship.
It's not even that. They're fighting to get out of the tournament.
Yes, a tournament where the winning team will fight for a chance at the World Championship. Nobody wants this match.
Yeah.
Disco and Alex are like, well, what can we do? And Chronic they go, well, pay us more money. Disco's got some cash in his pocket. He hands it over to Chronic and they say, fine, we'll take your spot. Which, by the way, leads to another interview later where Chronic says, if we win, we won't fight each other.
That is correct.
Prestigious title.
Even Russo had to be sitting at home going, this is some hot garbage. This is bullshit.
Now, I will say one thing. It's not that they didn't care about the world title. It's that Disco and Alex were scared of Scott Steiner.
Fair.
They were more... Now, that's still dumb. They still did it desperately get out of the tournament for a chance to win the world title. Because Steiner scares them more than the appeal of being world champion.
Well, that is one shitty world championship then, dude.
I'm not disagreeing.
This championship is supposed to be worth millions of dollars a year. And they're afraid to take one beating from Scott Steiner, which you know they've probably taken 50 beatings already for free.
Now, in between, there was one small segment I want to note. Jimmy Hart is doing the gimmick where he's challenging DJs from around the country.
Right.
He announces that he has been challenged. Someone has picked up the gauntlet. It's a DJ from Augusta, Georgia. And Jimmy Hart proceeds to make fun of the accents of people of Augusta, Georgia. Jimmy Hart.
Yes.
The mouth of the South.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a heel.
Just making sure we're clear on that. So after the Boogie Nights pay Chronic to take their tournament spot, we cut to the Filthy Animals, who blatantly stooge them off.
Yes.
And Flair sees this and promises to take care of it. Gene interviews Booker, informs him that he will no longer be facing the Boogie Nights tonight. He'll be facing Chronic. And Booker doesn't sweat them. He doesn't sweat Lex, and that's about that. Flair meets with the Boogie Nights. They're taking their gear off. And Flair says, you don't have the night off. I have got a big surprise for you. And Disco says, on my birthday? And Flair says, happy birthday. And he walks out.
And he adds, first he says, I saw what you did, you're busted. Then he says, but I like that match, so it'll stick. It's anything, just whatever. Then they go to Gene with huge erection.
All right.
And this is 5 talking segments in a row now.
Sure.
And we're about to get 6.
Sure we are. So I was pressed for time. I was in a hurry to get the show done and get here to do this show. But I had to go back and write down the bullshit all these men said. This is what they said to hype up their feud with Team Canada. Each guy had like one line. Huge Erection says, not only are you Canadian, it's obvious you're a moron. Chavo says, Team Canada, you're on the brink of annihilation at Mayhem, but if you want to speed up the extinction process, that's okay with the Misfits. We go to Lash LaRue. You keep talking about how smart and superior Canadians are, It makes me wonder if you really are Canadian.
Wait, what?
Even huge erection is like, the hell? And finally, the wall says, only sailors and male strippers are named Lance. Which one are you?
What?
And Gene Okerlund says, ooh, that's interesting. So listen, there's a lot of this debate about verbal presentation of pro wrestling in the year 2019. I just want to say this. If I ever again in my life complain about overly scripted promos, remind me of this segment. I will apologize. Scripted promos have their place in pro wrestling. That cannot be denied. The Battle Dome dudes meet with Doug Dillinger, who they call Santa Claus. They demand some fake-ass wrestlers. Up steps Rick Steiner. As a giant brawl breaks out, I'm watching Rick Steiner brawl with Terry Crews. It's the weirdest damn thing.
6 talking segments in a row.
They didn't fly these guys.
Go ahead.
They didn't fly these guys to the UK. This is a pre-tape.
This was a pre-tape.
Okay.
I would have taken 60 talking segments in a row over this next match.
You know what's funny about this match?
Nothing.
I watched it twice. Okay.
What?
Because
You're a sturdier man than I am.
it got so bad that I was like, has it been this bad from the opening bell?
Yes.
Okay. The answer is it actually wasn't. It was not good,
No.
but everything was okay until, of all people, Booker T got the hot
The
tag.
one guy in this match. Brian Adams,
Luger.
Brian Clark.
Lex Luger is working with Chronic, and it fell apart when Luger tagged in Booker.
That is a fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was Brian Clark always this horrible? And I just have not noticed?
No.
Okay, so it's osmosis teaming with Brian Adams.
Sure.
Well, I mean,
Did you see the pile driver?
neither guy... Brian Clark had one match for sure worse than this. This is, I'm positive, the worst match of Booker's career. This may have been the worst match of Brian Clark's WCW run. Everything they tried got fucked up.
I never had a match this bad. And I'm including our hair match.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you did.
I'm pretty sure. I had some shitty matches.
Oh, dude.
But no one saw them, so they don't count. So, it's awful. Everything they do gets fucked up. It's a tag match.
Yes.
I'm begging at one of them to please tag out. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. At one point, they both bonk. They both sell. And Stevie Ray on commentary says, quote, what happened there?
Well, what happened was Booker shot him in, and I think he went for a knee. And for some reason, Brian Clark thought the spot was, I'll hit the ropes, and as I'm running, I'll give you a knee. Why would you ever do that? But he hits him, and they both get hit with a knee, and they fall down. And Stevie Ray, of all people, is flabbergasted. So finally, Booker hits the missile drop kick. Steiner hits Booker with a bat. Chronic hits High Times, get the pin. Brian Clark had been wrestling all over the world for 11 years at this point. Both members of Chronic had been working for longer than Lance Storm.
Wow.
Booker was also horrible in this match. It's fair to say that.
Yeah, he was the main problem. Him and
Yes.
Brian Clark were horrendous together.
You're correct. So, the finish is Steiner hits Booker with a pipe. Chronic hits the High Times. And then Booker T, the worst world champion there's ever been, got pinned.
Yeah.
Good God. Then Chronic does a promo. They tell Gene they are a well-oiled ass-kicking machine. They promised they would not fight each other. If they win this little tournament, if one wins the belt, both win the belt. So do they think if they win, they can just forego facing each other and just face the champion in a handicap match?
Yes.
That's kind of what Vito thought in the opening segment.
I suppose. Chuck Palumbo versus Sean O'Hare versus Sean Stasiak versus Kevin Nash in a Four Corners match.
This was bad, but it was way better than that previous
A
match.
billion times better. Well, this made me laugh because I suspect Kevin Nash ran the ropes and ran the corners more in this match than in his entire WCW run up to this point. They're zipping him left, they're zipping him right, north, east, west, south. He's running all over the place. Finally, he comes back, hits a bunch of punches, hits a bunch of big boots.
My favorite part is he goes for the powerbomb, but he must sweep his beautiful hair out of the way. And that gives Jindrak the opportunity to cut him off.
I see.
His vanity was his downfall.
Well, yes.
They beat him up. Nobody comes out to save Kevin Nash, the smartest man in wrestling.
He has no friends.
Can't even book himself as having one buddy.
We mentioned the finish.
Who gives a shit?
Reno ran in for the DQ in a 4-way.
Oh, okay, great.
They beat Nash up and sent on him. Elix Skipper versus the Cat. I guess they just gave up on editing Cat's music. No entrance for him, no entrance for Elix. The match just starts. They're doing some stuff out there, and Stevie Ray, not a fan of having all these women at ringside.
I'll say.
Doesn't like yaks getting involved in wrestling. And Elix is shouting at Miss Jones. Stevie Ray is talking about how you got to talk to a yak. And then Miss Jones hauls off and kicks Elix Skipper in the head. I've never heard a man laugh as hard as Stevie Ray
To which
did.
Stevie said she must have learned that at Yak University.
Eventually he did say that, yes. The match continues. Elix puts on the gray cup ring, never gets to use it, gets felinered, gets pinned.
Is Stevie Ray a babyface?
He's Stevie Ray.
Okay.
He is there to entertain himself.
Apparently.
Which is what I do on this show, so it's a spirit I can appreciate.
There was just nothing to this match.
No.
Boogie Nights go out for a mystery opponent.
Oh, my God.
I wonder who it could be.
The highlight of this show.
The highlight of my day.
Goldberg and the Dancing Dildos was just the greatest thing ever. You know what's amazing about it, too? Goldberg was by far the worst worker in this match, but his stuff looked the best of everybody.
Probably hitting him as hard as he could.
He's just suplexing these guys all over. He's throwing them all over the place. It's just unbelievably great. It's like 2 minutes. Jackhammers one, jackhammers the other, does a push-up on both for the pin. The place is going absolutely crazy.
Yep.
I'm like, this is the depths of despair. And this guy is still just the greatest thing.
Yep.
My notes here simply read 5 stars.
Oh,
This is a 5-star squash match. This is up there with Roderick Strong and Kurt Angle. There's an Ultimate Dragon squash. There's one just recently we saw that. I'm trying to remember. It was Bianca had a great one. Bianca Belair on NXT. No one else is remembering.
no, I don't remember that one being that great.
Gene interviews Steiner, who vows to win his match and celebrate horizontal with his freaks.
Right.
Team Canada, or was this Lance doing a promo, actually? Lance says he left his boys in the back, challenges Huge Erection to do the same. It is time for the Canadian anthem. And I don't know if it's because it's the Commonwealth or if it's the English are way more polite, but they all stand silently for the Canadian national anthem here in England.
Yeah.
Then, of course, Lance Storm comes out. Did we mention that Vince Russo's not on the show anymore?
Right.
Yeah.
They don't have to call him Huge Erection anymore.
No, they do not.
He can call him whatever they want.
There's a lot of things they could change. And
That
they
would be
don't.
the first one. So they're wrestling. No one cared about the match at all, even a little bit. Team Canada runs out, but MIA runs out to beat them up 3-on-2. They couldn't find one more fake Canadian to make this, even up these odds. So Hugh is going for the moonsault, but Major Guns pulls Lance out of the way.
What happened was Lance is laying there, and she grabs his arms like way too early. And so they just lay there for a second while Lance waits for the right time.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter. Like, it's already ruined. She grabbed him way too early. So he rolls out of the way, and Huge Erection crashes, and she gives him a roll of quarters. He punches Huge Erection, who kicks out. And then Lance puts him in the half crab. Erection is about to stretch to the ropes. Major Guns throws in the towel. This whole thing is just appalling.
Was there not a gym sock available?
And he wins. She turns.
I'm 12 years old.
Okay. Then they go backstage to Gene. He's with Lance and Major Guns. And he's like, why did you turn? And her whole explanation is, I'm Canadian now.
Right.
That's what she said. She said, all my explanation is this, and she removed her American flag bikini to reveal a Canadian flag bikini and said, I'm Canadian.
So, can you imagine what losers MIA must be? You know what I'm saying? They were so cocky, so to speak, in their promo earlier. They're all bragging how stupid the Canadians are. And meanwhile, Lance and Major Guns put one over on all of those geeks. And apparently they're such geeks that she went back to them and was like, I had it way better with Lance.
Well, then Lance says, he actually said this. He did say this. I'm going to finish Rection off for good.
That's what he said.
At Mayhem. And I thought, so you did the title match here, but you're still doing the title match there. So this whole thing could be a waste of time. Because the winner of that match is the champion anyway. Who cares?
Right.
There's a lot of stupid stuff in 2000. Chronic versus Sting and Scott Steiner with Medeja on commentary.
This was so much better than another Chronic match.
Yeah.
Yes, because the other one was like the worst Chronic match they ever had in WCW. Not the worst of all time.
There were still a lot of spots that looked horrible.
Taker and Kane was worse, but
There was a spot where Steiner hit the ropes on one side, he hit the rope on the other side, and he just stopped running and tagged.
I know what you're talking about.
That was the hot tag. By the way.
I wrote Steiner casually tags out while stumbling the ropes and then makes his own comeback.
He did hit the ropes poorly, but it was just funny because, like, in storyline, the idea is when you hit the ropes, they propel you back the opposite way.
That's correct.
So if you hit the ropes on two sides, you should be running as fast as you possibly can out of control.
Sure.
And he just stops.
He did.
Yeah.
He just stops.
Like
stops.
a human.
He tags in Sting, and then he turns around and beats Chronic up anyway.
Yeah.
So why did he bother tagging out? So Chronic hits High Times, but for no reason, they decide not to go for the cover.
Well, Vinny, they don't want to face each other.
I hadn't thought of that, Brian.
It was stupid, but made sense.
So Medeja slaps Adams. Sting kicks Adams out of the ring. And I will say this finish was cool. Mm-hmm. Wrath goes for Meltdown. Right. Does the big arm wringer, does the pump handle, sets him up. The place is going crazy. This move always looks cool. And he throws Sting up, and Sting smooth as glass, turns it into a death drop, drops him on his head, and pins him.
Awesome.
That was really cool.
That was a great finish.
Yes. Then Steiner, who now is going to face Sting on Thunder, he immediately attacks Sting with a chair. And Booker T, when he's out with a chair, lays out Steiner to make the save. And then he turns and lays out Sting. Because you see, speaking of self-fulfilling prophecies, we'll put the belt on him. We'll have him never, ever, ever win. Every victory he gets will be fluke and influence, and there'll be interference, and we'll screw his opponents over and over and over again. Then when he won't get over, we'll have to turn him.
Yes. I guess. It was stupid.
It was very stupid.
It was just dumb. The show sucks.
It was a terrible
You know that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go watch The Mandalorian.
Do you know, everybody, that Nitro sucks in the year 2000?
It was important.
Yeah.
Okay.
As critics, Brian, it's our job to make sure that's clear.
Yeah, I don't really want to write Death of WCW a third time.
No.
But I do stand by what I said. If I wrote it a third time, I was way too easy on them the first two times. It's much worse than I thought, rewatching it. Here we go.
The finishes on this show were pin after a ref bump in a hardcore match, clean submission in a tag match, pin after interference in a horrible tag team match, DQ in a four corners match, pin after a guy tries to cheat and fails, pin of two dudes simultaneously in an all-time great squash match, submission via towel after interference and a weapon are not the finish, and pin after interference.
Excellent timing, Vinny.
As always. WCW Monday Nitro, also November 20th of the year 2000. So we got a recap package. And I don't know if it's the network's fault or WCW's fault, but there's piped in music that's totally drowning out all audio.
Yes.
So I have zero idea what's going on.
Really, really bad.
And then the commentary comes in really super loud. Eventually, I'm able to tell there was a show in Germany. I'm not sure if it was Thunder or not, but it was definitely in Germany, where the Boogie Knights were challenging for the World Tag Team titles, and somebody had a brilliant plan, which is, we have one German guy. It's Alex Wright. We'll put him in a tag match for the tag titles. We'll have his partner get hurt, so he has to go it alone. He'll beat the Natural Born Thrillers by himself. He'll raise those tag belts high, and the place will go crazy. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And it worked.
They claim Disco has been severely injured.
Wait a second. The hometown boy won in his hometown?
Yes.
And the crowd popped?
And they were very happy.
That's crazy.
And probably decided, hey, let's get tickets for the next show.
This will never work.
Yes.
I hope they waited to buy their tickets.
That's true.
Lex Luger wants a match from Mike Sanders. We're not told here what it is.
Did you do a count of how many Sanders segments were on this show?
Not that, but I did note that he is on this show more than like Triple H is on Raw.
I think that he was in every segment.
Yeah, and some were better than others, but his bad segments are bad. So, okay, why don't we start it right now? Mike Sanders won. I'll start.
All right, I'll talk about this. You start the file here.
Mike Sanders.
All right, we know what the name of the file is.
Appearances.
So Palumbo rushes in, says O'Hara's been laid out. O'Hara was supposed to get a tag title shot. So because O'Hara's been beaten up, they look at him, and they're like, well, fuck it. Now it'll be the perfect event tonight. That's literally what they did.
Now, it's actually more than that, because they find O'Hara laid out. Sanders says, you got to be ribbing me. Then he runs back to his desk to cut a promo where now the camera's facing on him directly.
Yes.
I am counting this as his second Sanders appearance.
No. We don't need that, Vinny. All right. So he goes back in and he announces that Palumbo and Stasiak are getting the shot. Then, correct me if I'm wrong, I could have sworn he said they will face Alex Wright and a partner of my choosing.
That's what he said.
Did he not say that?
That's exactly what he said.
Okay, so then, like, the very next segment is Alex Wright going to find a partner of his choosing? They couldn't even keep that straight.
Well, technically, he goes to Chronic.
But he's looking around for a partner.
Well, he's looking to buy their help. He says he's on the phone with Disco, and he says he doesn't know who his partner is. He doesn't say, be my partner, Chronic.
See.
He says, help me.
He wants protection.
Because he's back on this show. He's no longer a hero.
I apologize.
Again, Brian, there's enough to make fun of.
I apologize.
The stuff they get.
I apologize. How many times do I have to say it here?
One more.
I'm sorry. And then he signs Booker versus Luger for the main event.
Yes, the match, obviously, Luger wanted, which we didn't know about at first. Jamie Noble versus Yang. Madden has a shocking revelation that Jamie Noble is a white guy.
And he's pretty fly.
You know, I talk about this all the time. I don't want to be a broken record, but Jamie Noble was so awesome here.
Yep.
He was 23 years old, and he had been in the business for 4 years. Find me one 23-year-old who has been in the business for 4 years, trained at the WWE Performance Center. I'm not talking Tyler Bate. I'm talking trained from scratch at the Performance Center. Find me one guy 4 years in at 23 that's a quarter as good as Jamie Noble was here. Sounds to me like somebody's doing something wrong.
So Leia Meow, who I had zero memory of her doing anything physical other than dancing, did a diving Rana off the apron at one point. So all the other leftover shards of 3 Count the Young Dragons are all out doing stuff. I can no longer keep track of who's on whose team or who's feuding with who.
That's fair.
They're all out there doing stuff. I didn't write down the finish, but I believe Jamie Noble won.
Jamie Noble won with a sunset flip after a flip dive to the outside, and then 2 Count attacked him. Evan Courageous helped clear the ring. Mm-hmm. I like this. This was great.
This was very good.
Lex Luger has a meeting with Ric Flair. He comes out, looks into the camera, and he's very happy.
Do you know Noble's only 42 right now?
Well, I could have. You said he's 23. It's 19 years later.
42 years old.
Here's Steiner apparently losing to Sting on Thunder, but then putting him in a straitjacket and beating him with a pipe. All right.
So I was initially angry because Sting beats Steiner, and then Steiner beats him and breaks every bone in his body, according to the announcers.
Yeah.
Like, why did Sting even win?
Don't know.
But then I figured it out later. Steiner's going to win the title, and then Sting can challenge him based on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like a straight jacket on a pole match or something.
They were booking something insane like this.
Yeah.
So Alex is on the phone. He arrives. He tells Disco he has to defend the titles. He does not know who his partner is or who he's working. He approaches Chronic, whose tagline is, they're all about breaking necks and cashing checks.
Thank you.
Chronic tells him they will not take checks.
That is exactly what happened.
Yes.
Well, to be fair,
Okay.
I'm going to defend Chronic. Okay?
Right.
All right. So if you came up to me and you said, Brian, next Friday, I need you to beat Rob's ass. It's his birthday. I'll give you a check for $500. I'll say, okay. If you come up to me and say, it's Rob's birthday today, I need you to beat his ass, I'll give you a check for $500. How am I supposed to know your check is going to clear? See what I'm saying?
So they didn't trust his check.
Yes. They'll cash checks, but the check needs to clear before they do the deed.
Interesting.
This guy comes up, he wants him to do the deed tonight, and he's going to give him a check.
Plus, it could be in Deutschmarks.
They
That's
would
true.
be foolish.
I can only imagine what the exchange rate was like in the year 2000.
It could have been a thing.
Yeah. So then the
Yes, Rob?
By the way, I weren't sure if you were aware of this or not, but my birthday is actually coming up, and it just so happens I was hoping for an ass kicking this year.
Oh, see?
So.
I knew it. I did that on purpose.
At this point, the filthy animals walk up to Alex Wright. They throw garbage at him, and he turns around and walks away. I'm not making that up.
Speaking of cashing checks, do you know that one time I got a check from ECW Press for my book?
Oh.
And they're a Canadian company.
Okay.
And the bank wouldn't let me cash the check, even though the check said in U.S. funds. So it is possible they could have been skeptical of Alex Wright's check.
So Flair comes out for a promo, and he's putting over WCW in their world tour for World Championship Wrestling. Says Shivani does something in Europe he's not allowed to talk about. Now they're here in Georgia, a great show, great state, great fans.
I hope Tony's wife wasn't listening.
then-
I have no idea what it was, but if my wife were listening and Flair came out and said that, I'd be in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Then Flair says Mike Sanders has booked Booker T versus Lex Luger for the world title, and I couldn't change it if I wanted to.
Don't go for a walk, Vinny.
Time for a walk again.
Hey,
You came out last week, Mr. Flair, and you said Mike Sanders can book matches, but I can overrule him whenever I want. What happened in the last 7 days?
Vinny, what about the fact that he says I can't change the match, and then he changes the match?
I don't know. Why is this so hard?
I don't know.
It's bad enough they have to have 1,000 heel authority figures. Can we at least have a consistency with who's actually in charge? And this is something WWE has done 1,000 times too. Just tell me who's in charge so I know what's the totem pole. So Jarrett interrupts. We get a 5-hour bit with Jeff Jarrett and Ric Flair where Jarrett says he knows who impregnated Stacy Keibler. I know who knocked up your future former daughter-in-law, he says. David Flair comes out, and Jarrett says I think he said he had a party going on when Stacy was knocking at his door in a teddy with a shopping bag. He took her in, kicked everyone else out of his party, laid down next to her. The rest is history, I think he said. I am the one who got Stacy pregnant. The next morning, she was gone. All she left behind was that shopping bag. And when I looked, that shopping...
How long have we been talking about this?
Half as long as he was.
The point of this is, after all that, he realizes it's bullshit.
That's
He
what he
says
said.
this is fake.
Yes.
It didn't really happen.
And then he hit David Flair with a guitar. What was the point of
I
this?
have no... you know what? I think they're going to do Flair and Jarrett, or they wanted to do Flair and Jarrett at Starrcade, so this was the beginning of it, but fucking Starrcade, what?
I don't know.
How about we get through the pay-per-view Sunday first?
Yes. Oh, yeah, did we mention this is the go-home show for Mayhem?
Yes.
That seems relevant.
And then Bagwell comes out.
Buff
and
Bagwell
beats up
runs
Jarrett.
out. He attacks Jarrett, who turns around and beats his ass.
Yeah, this sucks.
Because Buff's the worst babyface ever.
This sucked.
He comes back, Buff does. He goes to throw Jeff off the stage, and Jeff is like that guy getting chokeslammed by Eric Angle. He looks off the stage, he jumps down, he lands on his feet. Kevin Nash arrives. He bends over to look at some tape, and then stands back up. And I had to go the tape is on screen for 4 frames, But I was so curious, I had to go look. All it does is it's just like catering with an arrow going this way and sign in with an arrow going that way. For some reason, Kevin Nash, I guess he had to know where the sign-in sheet was. Fit Finlay is there. Nash tells Fit to tell the Thrillers that Nash is here and he's not alone.
They're trying so hard to make you think
Yes.
that he's going to show up with Scott Hall.
Yes.
Scott Hall's going to be his partner. Can you imagine? I mean, yes, I can imagine.
All right, Pamela Paulshock interviews Team Canada. I had to watch this like 5 times to understand what I thought the matches are going to be, and I'm still not sure I was right about it. So, as soon as she starts talking, Duggan in the background covers up his mouth and bugs his eyes out. I know at one point he was reprimanded for like doing too much stuff in the background when Lance was talking. I'm wondering if this was his way of like showing them up for telling him to shut up.
I see.
Doing this speak no evil pose. So Pamela says it's Elix Skipper and Hacksaw versus Kiwi and Meng. Elix then announces that Sanders has chosen him to team with Alex Wright. So he's busy, and Lance will take the place in his match. I thought, which one? Is he taking the place against with Alex, or taking the place of this match here with Duggan? I don't know. So Lance says Duggan will teach Meng some manners. He will give the Hicks from Augusta a wrestling lesson. Major Guns does her one line, and Pam calls her a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I'm pretty sure
Running out of steam here.
Lance drew the shortest straw on this match.
I don't even know. I can't keep track anymore.
Okay.
So it's Alex Wright and Elix Skipper versus Sean Stasiak and Chuck Palumbo. Scott Hudson says, everything on the show left me bewildered and confused and irritated. Scott Hudson says, nobody attacked Sean O'Hare. He's not buying it, but somebody did.
What?
That's what I did.
I wasn't paying attention.
And I rewound it 5 times trying to figure out what the hell he was talking about.
Let's cut to the chase. Alex has the win. Ray and Kidman interfere. Ray and the Filthy Animals interfere.
Yeah.
They hit the Kid Crusher. Perfect Event gets the pin.
Yeah.
Who are the baby faces?
Yeah.
Who are the heels?
Yeah.
Why are the Filthy Animals mad at Alex Wright?
I don't know. Maybe he didn't sell the garbage backstage big enough. I believe, to answer your question, Brian, in this show, they're all heels.
Okay.
I think. Jimmy Hart and 2 out of 3 count.
God, allow me. Jimmy Hart is backstage. He's been doing this deal where he challenges random radio DJs to fight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they cut backstage, and Jimmy Hart starts to talk, and he's got 2 count behind him. And all of a sudden, Man-Cow rushes in, waffles everybody with a garbage can, and they set it up so 2 count would step in front of Jimmy, so the can would hit both of them, but they'd all fall down, so they didn't have to hit Jimmy Hart. They all fall down, and security rushes in to tear them apart. All right? Now, on the surface, just a goofy angle. But let's stop for a second. This Man-Cow flew to wherever they're at.
Augusta.
Georgia.
From Chicago.
He managed to somehow get backstage. He camped out, he hid, and he waited until Jimmy Hart was doing his interview, which apparently he knew he was going to do, so that he could just rush in and hit him with a trash can. I couldn't buy a second of this.
I can't believe how much time in your life you've dedicated to this stupid thing.
Because every now and then I think, if this were real, what?
Yeah.
And that's all I could think during this segment.
Weren't you led to believe that Man-Cow bought time on Nitro for this?
They did say this portion paid for by Man-Cow or
Right.
something like that. Yeah.
Not to mention, they're already wrestling on Sunday.
Yeah.
Why did this asshole fly all the way to the building, hide backstage, get a garbage can, wait for Jimmy Hart to do his deal, and then waffle him with 1 trash can?
You'd have to ask Man-Cow.
He couldn't just wait till Sunday.
Pamela Paulshock interviews Kiwi and Meng.
Oh my God. All you need to know about this segment, this is the only notable thing. Meng speaks English. Now the funny thing is, Meng spoke English like 2 months ago, So, like, we've seen it. But Tony Schiavone is, like, so burnt out of this that even though he calls every one of these shows, he can't remember that Meng has spoken English before. So Meng starts to cut a promo in English, and Tony is so flabbergasted that he says, "Oh my God, can you believe what we're hearing? He's talking over Meng speaking English." He's so shocked. Meng vows to straighten Hacksaw's crooked eye because they're doing a tag match tonight.
He's going to rip out the cross eye, straighten it permanently. Kiwi, by the way, says Primetime has been ducking him. This will make him angry, so he's backing out of this match and putting General Erection in.
Huh?
God forbid he get mad.
Elix just wrestled.
That's what Kiwi said. All I know is they hyped some matches and then kept changing them over and over again. I had no idea what was ever going on this show.
And for some reason, Kiwi faces Sanders for the Cruiserweight title at Mayhem.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. It's like every Survivor Series match. I just don't know why they're happening.
Speaking of which, Mike Sanders is back on TV. That's appearance number 2. Sanders and Jindrak are doing a promo. It's awful. The worst comedy that's not comedy. It's so bad that in the middle of it, Tony Schiavone has to mutter, Mike Sanders talking about a match with Kiwi at Mayhem. Because no one knew what the hell he was talking about.
They did have to explain what was going on.
Then we see Reno. Reno speaks. There's a reason he doesn't speak very often. As Reno's congratulating Palumbo on winning the tag belts, and he goes to get his bag, Vito jumps Reno with a bat, lays him out, and says, Marie says hello. And Mark Madden says, who the hell's Marie? And Tony Schiavone says, that's Vito's sister.
Yeah, she was on one show for one instant.
If you go back and watch this, Vito's bat clearly bending before it actually makes contact with Vito's head.
Magic.
Yeah.
Here I wrote, I hate the show. The Battle Dome dudes are at ringside. This is Pamela Paulshock's question for Alex Wright.
You do that, then I'm going to answer.
Alex Wright, not only did the Filthy Animals cost you the match against the Perfect Event, but you also lost the tag team titles.
Yes.
That's her question.
So Alex Wright explains.
To rub salt in the wound.
He is upset that he got dropped and WCW didn't do anything about it. Nobody cares about me, he says. WCW is scared about the Boogie Nights.
Yes.
I talked to Disco on the phone. Disco is mad.
Really mad.
He's really mad. And since WCW won't do anything about this, these dildos will get their revenge. I want the Filthy Animals in a handicap match at Mayhem.
You're paraphrasing there.
Mm-hmm.
So in a handicap match, you talking him and Disco against all the Filthy Animals or him alone?
I assume.
Anyway, point was, he came off as such a babyface here. He's been totally screwed. He's pissed off about it. He rightly points out that nobody else is doing anything about it. So he wants to fight all these guys by himself. I think he's supposed to be a heel.
We have more shouting with the Battle Dome guys, and out comes Rick Steiner.
Oh, this actually was great.
Yes.
Rick has the Battle Dome belt. I didn't even know there was a Battle Dome belt. He explains, I went to L.A. I walked out right in the middle of your show. I took your belt, and there wasn't a damn thing you could do about it. If you want some, come get. This was like the best Rick Steiner promo. Remember we were talking about how I wouldn't have put the title on Rick Steiner in 1988?
Yeah.
I'd have put the title on that Rick Steiner.
In the year 2000.
This badass T-Money hits the ring. Rick Steiner beats the shit out of him.
I'm watching Rick Steiner fight Terry Crews.
Yes. The other guys hit the ring.
Mind.
They beat up him. They leave him laying. This was a great angle.
Who got bloody? Did you see Steiner's hand was bleeding?
I'm pretty sure he punched Terry Crews right in the nose.
Okay. Well.
So, now before all this, Brian, as Rick Steiner's making his way to the ring, with the Battle Dome belt over his shoulder, Mark Madden says, and here again, I had to rewind 5 times and quote it all, just to make sure that I know what's going on. If Luger beats Booker for the title, Goldberg gets a title shot at Mayhem. If Goldberg wins the title, then he's the champ, he calls the shots, and he doesn't have to worry about his winning streak broken to maintain that point.
They totally blew off the streak.
So it seems to be Goldberg would want Luger to win tonight.
Yes.
So, to recap, it's Luger Booker tonight to set up Luger versus Goldberg and Steiner versus Booker at the pay-per-view. But those matches are going to happen no matter who is champion. So Steiner has to make sure Booker walks out of this building as champion if he wants his title shot. It's all very confusing.
My head
Yes.
That's my point. The show...
My point was that they spent so much time building up the Goldberg streak.
Yeah.
Badly, I might add. And they're still doing it on this show. And Flair has flat out said, I don't give a shit about this streak. I'm just going to give you a championship match.
That happens. Yes, and somewhere in here, Scott Hudson referred to the Battle Dome crew as pseudo-shooters. Sean Stasiak is ordering a pizza when Reno demands a match with Vito. Sanders vows to take care of it, and then it's not enough that Sanders, appearance number 3, pardon me. It's not enough that we have to hear the stupid SOL thing every single time they're on TV. Now they must also say "set it off" 500 times. I'm leaning towards the Natural Born Thrillers being the worst faction of all time. I hate them.
Aces and eights.
I didn't have to deal with SOL.
Dude, the Forgotten Sons.
Better. I would rather watch the Forgotten Sons at this point.
The Forgotten Sons were on Raw last night. I don't think any of the announcers had any idea who they were. I don't think their names were mentioned.
The Forgotten Sons are merely neutral in every single way. The Natural Born Thrillers outright irritate me.
They are irritating.
A clear negative.
That's for sure.
Hugh G. Rection gives his men a pep talk, tries to get them fired up, and they all agree to take no prisoners. Kevin Nash does a promo. He has 13 months and 10 days left on his contract. He's going to do nothing over that time but have the time of his life. He drove here from Atlanta with a good friend of his. Tells Sanders to bring his jacked up greenhorns out. He and his partner want a shot of the belts. Mike Sanders, number 4, agrees. Says Kevin Nash is not popular backstage. Kevin Nash says, Chief J. Strongbow once told me. It's the year 2000. Chief J. Strongbow's getting name dropped. You can make friends in this business or you can make money, and I made money.
So, hold on a second. So they're going back and forth, and Nash says, I've got a partner. And Sanders says, nobody likes you. And Nash's comeback is, I can make friends or make money, and I make money?
Yeah.
Right.
His comeback is, you're right, nobody likes me.
And then he brought out his friend.
And then
Well,
DDP
not yet.
comes out.
There's more.
Sorry.
Sanders insults the fans. Kevin Nash makes fun of him for using cheap heat. Sanders says, what? I didn't hear you. And Nash is like, you're using cheap heat. This is a death promo. So finally Nash says, you guys think you can fight with me when you can't even hang with me in the bar.
The fuck does one thing have to do with the other?
I don't know, but for some reason Mike Sanders was furious. And he sprints down the aisle, and Tony Schiavone says, that upset Sanders?
This show's so bad.
It's a horrible
I apologize for what I said at the beginning of this show. This show sucks.
A horrible show. So DDP hits the ring. It's 2 men beating up 5, and it's not even like DDP's doing diamond cutters left and right. They're just doing moves and beating them all up, and finally Jindrak, I think, is left alone and eats one.
Mm-hmm. You know, I got to give him credit. I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I got to give him credit. They told you who the partner was on this show.
Sure.
I fully expected for them to tease that it was Scott Hall all the way to the pay-per-view
Sure.
to make you plop down your money, and only then, after they got your money, reveal it's actually DDP.
It would have made perfect sense.
I have to give them credit for telling you who actually was going to be on the show and not being assholes.
We then get a recap of Major Guns turning on MIA. Now, I could go back over these one by one.
Please don't.
I will just tell you, this was the 12th consecutive non-wrestling segment on this show. Then, Lance comes out for his match, but before the match, he cuts a promo, and if you want to count that as a 13th segment, I won't argue. We get the match. If you have forgotten, and I could not blame you for forgetting, it's Lance Storm and Hacksaw Duggan versus Huge Erection and Meng. Scott Hudson referred to Major Guns as Queen of the Caribou Hoof, which I can't believe you can say on TV.
It's like Moose Knuckle, Rob.
So Lance buries the U.S. for needing 2 weeks to do an election. It's just counting, he says. Ming comes out. Tony Schiavone says, I still can't believe he said this. This is Meng. He will eat. I can't say it. This is Meng. He will eat you now. He will eat you now, is what he said.
Yeah.
This show's so dumb.
He's finally been broken. Finally. That was what did it? You're so lucky you're not watching wrestling today.
This is Meng. He will eat you now. Eat you.
Well, he will.
So,
Yes, Rob.
Am I the only one noticing that his face is almost the same color as his shirt right now?
He looks like Brock wrestling.
so they're doing this match, and Tony begins to do, like, fantasy booking. He tells a story about how Lance brought Meng back. Meng disappointed him, so Lance turned on him, which is something you don't want to do. When did any of this happen?
He made it up.
He made this. Is
I mean,
a
it could
story
happen on Thunder.
Tony Schiavone made up in his mind.
There
to
are
make
some
the booking
dumb
make sense.
stories that took place on Thunder, Vinny.
Someone had the bright idea in this match to make Meng the Meng in peril.
Oh, yeah, he was selling. Meng!
Meng. Huge erection gets the coldest hot tag ever. Somebody hits somebody with a flagpole. MIA is out there brawling with Team Canada. And Rection pins Duggan with a schoolboy. A wretched match.
I thought he pinned Neelix. Who cares?
Doesn't matter. He just wasn't in the match.
Yeah, so he pinned... Oh, yeah. Who cares? When I review this show, Vinny, I thought nothing of the fact that he might have pinned a man who wasn't in the match.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's true. Shane Douglas and Jeff Jarrett are having a chat backstage. Mike Sanders, number 5, joins the announce desk.
Is he in every fucking segment? I wrote in all caps.
So, I know it was a tasteless joke, but was he, like, knocked out cold in that brawl with DDP? Because he's out there and he's terrible. Mike Sanders, how do you have this tag match now? You got to face Kevin Nash and DDP. I don't want to talk about it.
I just don't want to talk about it.
Do you want to talk about anything else?
No.
Do you have a point? What was he out there for?
Let's talk about what was good.
Now, I don't know what he's out there for. So, he does eventually say they've got a young hotshot coming out, and he's got something in store for this young hotshot, and then out comes Kwee Wee. Record scratch. I have been waiting for this moment for a while, for this match. Now, I was worried, in my mind, this may have happened on Thunder.
No.
And I think the reason I thought that is because some point in the past month or two, Nitro switched to blue ropes. So when I saw the blue ropes, I think I associated that with Thunder. But when Kwee Wee came out, and Commissioner Mike Sanders was mad at Kwee Wee, and we didn't know what Kwee Wee was doing out here, there was a mystery opponent, I thought, oh my God, this may be it. This may be the key, the moment in WCW in 2000. And then Bill Goldberg's music hit. Whatever the opposite of taking a walk is, I guess it's sitting there in rapt attention.
You buckled up.
I did. I buckled up, yes. Bill Goldberg versus Kwee Wee. It's etched in my brain, so I knew everything that happened. When it happened live in the year 2000. I have not for 1 second forgotten a single frame of this match. Bill Goldberg comes out. He's spitting, snarling. Kwee Wee knows he's got one shot. Is to catch this guy off guard. So as Goldberg begins to get...
May I add that Goldberg's thinking about all that fucking glitter that was on him last week on Thunder.
I hadn't thought of that.
No glitter this week.
No, or ever again, I'm sure. As Goldberg gets in the apron, Kwee Wee jumps him. He does like 2 or 3 elbows. And then Goldberg kind of like slips through the ropes. Kwee Wee runs to hit the other ropes into a springboard. And he had some spot where he did this. It was into a kick or a dive or whatever. Yeah. He runs across the ropes, does a springboard, and bounces back and spins him around in midair. As he is doing this, Bill Goldberg climbs into the ring, preps every muscle in his body, from the smallest toes to the top of his head, and he dashes forward, and he cuts Kwee Wee in half with a spear. The most brutal, awesome thing. Kwee Wee's in midair coming down, and then he's going back up because he's been hit so damn hard. The referee jumps high in the air. All the fans throw their hands in the air. Kwee Wee's head goes spinning off into the crowd. And then as Goldberg gets up, he's snarling, spitting, stomping, fire's breathing out his nose. I watched this over and over and over, and then I made a GIF of it, and I just watched that GIF for like 5 minutes. It's the most beautiful thing. I was weeping tears of joy.
If Kwee Wee had been wearing glitter,
Yes.
there would have been a glitter silhouette.
It would have
Wee
looked
Wee.
like the Death Star blowing up. That would have been even better. Kind of sad, actually.
So, for what it's worth, he jackhammers him and pins him.
Tony Schiavone is going even crazier than you are because Goldberg speared him out of his boots. His boots literally go flying.
That's the Sanders spot.
Ah,
That's to come.
Yeah.
that's next, yes.
Now, for mathematical record-keeping purposes, I want it down. Queeby versus Goldberg on the November 20th episode of Nitro in the year 2000. 8 stars. So then, Goldberg goes to Sanders, who is at the announce desk, and Goldberg tells him, I fight my battles, I don't fight yours. And he starts to leave, but out comes Ric Flair, who stops Goldberg from leaving and says, come this way, franchise. Must have pissed off Shane some of the fierce. So Flair says, Mike Sanders has a problem being a commissioner and a wrestler at the same time. We all know you put Queeby in the ring with Goldberg to soften him up for your match with Queeby at Mayhem on Sunday. Well, we're going to do things fair. We're going to make everything equal. Mike Sanders, you are a wrestler, and you are next. Goldberg's very happy about this. He grabs Mike Sanders. He throws him into the ring. Hits him with a pump handle slam, so you know he means business. The greatest finisher in all of wrestling. Then the spear and jackhammer are overkill at this point. And here, Tony was so happy about Sanders getting speared out of his shoes. It's a cliche, and it happened. Goldberg won, if you didn't know that yet. Mm-hmm. Here is Pamela Paulshock's question for Booker T. WCW champion Booker T. Lex Luger went to both Mike Sanders and Ric Flair and pulled it off. A match with you tonight. Now, do you think Goldberg will get involved?
Great question.
I suppose. Maybe it's just her delivery, or maybe it's the way she addressed him as WCW champion Booker T.
Well, she needs to tell the viewers who he is, what he is. Asked a decent question. Way better than we get today.
That's fair. So, last week, Booker hit somebody with a chair. I think it was Sting. Anyone?
I don't know.
Bueller?
I mean,
Bueller?
Probably.
I was
Sting always
expecting
can speed up.
an explanation for why or what.
Oh, yeah, at the end of the show.
Yes.
No, nothing.
Nothing at all.
Well, it could have been on Thunder. But, I mean, we
would have
should
been
be
nice to have
filled in.
a little bit of follow-up.
We should have been filled in.
Booker doesn't care about 4% body fat, whether it's Goldberg or Steiner or Luger. He warns Goldberg not to get involved. And don't hate the player, hate the damn game.
All right, let me take over here. Because aside from Goldberg killing Kiwi, what follows is, honest to God, my favorite thing on this show. Shane Douglas and Tori Wilson come out. And first, they just do this cheap heat promo for like an hour, calling the people inbreds, the whole 9 yards. Then we get Shane Douglas versus Buff Bagwell. I'm sure you both fell asleep. For whatever reason, I watched this match, and it actually was a really good match. It was a very simple story, which is that Buff Bagwell broke his neck and came back, and so Shane Douglas worked over his bad neck. And he worked over his neck, and he put him in neck holds. Unlike today in WWE where, someone has a bad leg, so someone puts him in a fucking chin lock. He worked over his bad neck. Buff Bagwell made a big comeback. Tori interfered to set up the heat. Then she tried to interfere again at the end, but Buff thwarted it the second time. The heels run into each other. Buff hits a DDT. Buff goes up top for the blockbuster. Jarrett runs down to stop him, but Shat makes the save. Buff then hits the blockbuster and pins Shane Douglas. It was a totally simple babyface versus heel match. The psychology made sense. The fans were into it. There was a logical conclusion. There was a clean pin. This was like the best thing on the show, except for Jamie Noble. That was like a better athletic match.
And Goldberg.
But I said besides Goldberg,
Okay.
you idiot.
Got it.
But I mean, the Jamie Noble
Bears
match was
repeating.
just like two guys doing a lot of great moves. It's not like there was a story to it or anything. It's like one guy used to be Asian, now he's white. He's facing his former partner. They do a bunch of moves. One guy wins. And he looked good doing it. This was like a pro wrestling match. This was this show's version of Chris Benoit versus Steve Austin. Not nearly as good, but you know what? I just want to see a goddamn pro wrestling match. And that's what this was. With a satisfying finish that made the fans happy. I liked this.
Okay, that all happened. I won't say I fell asleep, but I did not like it nearly as much as you did. And I thought the finish had way too much stuff going on. My favorite part of this is Shane Douglas has Buff Bagwell down in a neck vice. And Buff powers him up into what they now call the electric chair position, where Shane's sitting on Buff's shoulders. And Buff just falls back, and Shane falls on his back. And something went wrong. It looked okay. But next thing I know, Shane is saying something. The ref bends over to hear what Shane is saying. And Buff Bagwell from his back loudly shouts, "I'm sorry!"
Probably hit him in the nuts.
Oh, that may have been it. Mm-hmm. That makes more sense. But yes, Buff won. So then the cat calls out Shane, also insults Mark Madden, and then just has a dance party. Scott Steiner comes out for a promo. He pretends to cry. Says he'd like to say he's sorry if he was, but he warned Sting he was going to hurt him. Says Flair is an old son of a bitch, still trying to screw him out of a world title. He gave Goldberg the worst defeat of his career. Goldberg don't want no more of me. And he says, a Starrcade, I will say, Vinny, Vidi, Vucci. And then, after mispronouncing the Latin, says that is not in Booker T's Ebonics handbook.
He buried Sting, he buried Goldberg, he buried Booker, he dropped an Ebonics line, he lost his train of thought, he couldn't remember the name of the next pay-per-view, and he lost the crowd.
All of which happened.
Okay. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
A bad Steiner promo.
Terrible.
So at this point, I will
think
say
he wins the title on Sunday.
This was a terrible promo, but I will say this. He did get across in the last 10 minutes of the show that the Booker T. Scott Steiner championship match at the pay-per-view was also in a cage, which I did not know until he said.
Dude, all I know is he talked for like an hour, and I'm just thinking, get the fucking hook for this guy. He just keeps going on and on and on and on.
You get the hook of Scott Steiner.
And then he just goes to do commentary.
Yes. So the main event is Booker T versus the late 2000 Lex Luger, who could barely move.
Horrible.
You know what drives me crazy about the network? You can see how much time is left on the clock.
It's dragged so slowly.
When it says that there's 4 minutes left and they're doing ring intros, you're like, okay, it's going to be a screw job finish.
Dude, when it's Booker
Did you want Luger
versus
to wrestle
Lex
more?
Luger and there was 4 minutes left, I was like, thank God. Thank God, get this shit over with.
Thank you for crapping on my point. My point is, you knew what was going to happen.
And I was happy about it.
Thank God.
This is not a bug, Craig. This is a feature. So they have a god-awful match.
Horrible.
Just wretched.
Luger looked 100.
Somewhere in here, Goldberg comes out, but before he can do anything, he's bothering with Steiner. Something happened to Booker. We don't even know. Lex gets a chair. He's behind Booker. Goldberg goes to throw a spear, maybe a Booker, we don't know, but Booker dodges and Lex gets speared. And then Booker T, the worst champion I've ever seen, gets the pin by doing nothing.
Hey, at least he got the pin.
I suppose that's true, but he never beats anybody. He never, ever hits his move and wins.
Did you see the kick that missed Luger by 2 feet, and he still took a bump for it?
I would say he took a bump. I'm not sure how to describe. He went from his feet to his back.
Okay.
But there was a gentle rolling motion.
Man, this was not good.
No. Everyone, this is, for the most part, a horrible episode of Nitro. But you know what? I'll give that show a thumbs up merely for the Goldberg segment.
Oh, God.
This made the rest of the 2 hours worth it.
I would say that between Jamie Noble and Jimmy Wang Yang and Rick Steiner's promo and the Shane Buff match that was basic, but I liked it, and Goldberg and Kiwi, I mean, that's why I thought this was a better show. But everything else really sucked.
The bad stuff was awful. I should have time-stamped the Goldberg stuff. It's roughly 2/3 of the way through the show. For those of you
People can find it. Not that hard. All right, ready?
I am ready when you are, sir. The finishes on this show were pin after a lot of interference and or distraction from a lot of people. Pin after interference. Pin after distraction. Clean pin in the most Goldbergian match that ever Goldberged. Clean pin in a slightly less Goldbergian match. Pin after distraction and interference fail. And pin in a terrible match after copious interference.
Man, we got through both of those quick there.
Well, there were only like 4 matches on Nitro, so.
All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap it up here for today. Vinny and I will be back on Thursday.
Well.
Oh. One.
Not yet.
That was a weird noise right there. What was that?
It's like the wind howling.
I think it was Rob's stomach.
Might have been.
Dude, the moment the show is over, get out of this house. You understand?
You want him dying?
understand.
You want him dying on the road?
No. I don't want him anywhere near any facilities in my house.
Yeah, don't light any candles when he's...
All right, let's do this Nitro show.
WCW Monday Nitro, also November 27th of the year 2000. We open with a wacky skit where they're announcing a special bulletin. The votes have been tallied. There's a clear-cut winner. Here is the next president of the United States. But then before we find out who it is, Jeff Jarrett hits a guy with a guitar.
So stupid.
Not funny.
Somebody somewhere thought that was a cool idea.
And pointless. We get a...
But you know what? I'm glad they did it.
And why is that?
I'll tell you why.
All right.
Later.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll tell you why now. I'm not going to give the line, okay? But there's a moment with Gene Okerlund that's a 10. And because they did this at the beginning of the show, it became a 12.
Got it. I see.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
They recapped a 3-hour pay-per-view in like 8 seconds.
Yeah. Mayhem.
Rex and Pin Storm, Jarrett beat Bagwell, Nash and Pace beat the Fivers, Goldberg beat somebody, Steiner and Booker for the world title.
Right.
Goldberg beat Luger
See, I didn't even get that.
in a horrible match.
I believe
so
you.
keep
Sure.
that in mind as we go through this recap.
That's right.
2 count versus the Misfits in action. Chavo and Lash LaRue. They had a 2019 tag match. It was very fast-paced. It was planned out, scripted, dot for dot for dot. Courageous and Noble come out with a ladder, and they interfere, and I'm honestly not sure who they were trying to help or if it worked or if it didn't work, but Chavo pinned Shannon with a brainbuster.
They broke up 2 3-man teams to make 3 2-man teams, and then the 2 that are from each faction are already fighting.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't need that.
That's
No.
stupid.
But I'm fine with 2 3-man teams breaking up into 3 2-man teams to have a number of different matches. And 3-ways.
There's only so many trio matches you can do. Now,
Yes,
now they can
it's
do
true.
more. Elix, again, is harassing, stalking, menacing Miss Jones, intimidating her. She makes fun of his broke ass. He and the cat go back and forth, and Lance Storm lays the cat out with a chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shad got like 5 hands up.
Yes.
He got so many hands up for this chair shot. It's very
man.
safe.
Yeah, pics of Steiner beating Booker the night before. Mean Gene interviews Steiner in the ring. Mean Gene's back, by the way.
Oh, my God. Allow me. There were 2 great things on the show, and this was one of them.
Right.
Scott Steiner cuts a Scott Steiner promo. He's here looking for a fight. But there's no Booker T backstage. There's no Sting. He sent both their asses to the hospital. Fans start chanting for Goldberg. Steiner says, Goldberg's still punch drunk from the last time we fought. Where's Goldberg? That's the one problem with this. We know he's there. He had a match later.
Yeah.
Where the hell was this coward? So Steiner says, they say it's easier to get to the top than stay on top, but they don't know anything about me. Everybody's afraid. Probably not going to find anybody to face me until Starrcade. Everybody wants a chance to kick my ass. Flair comes out. Flair says, we're going to build the greatest company in the world around its greatest champion, you, Scott Steiner. I've got a guy who is going to challenge you at Starrcade. I am flying him in tonight. A huge star. Scott Steiner says, Booker T, Sting, their asses are in the hospital. Andre the Giant, he's dead. Steve Austin, when he was in WCW, I beat his ass. And The Rock, he doesn't have the balls to show up here. Fans are going nuts.
Yeah.
I'm like, look at this fucking guy.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. Flair says, well, you'll see. The guy I've got, he's up there with all of those names. I'm going to tell you right now, Booker T is in the hospital. He may never wrestle again because of you. Fans go, yay! Like a hell of a job you guys did with Booker T. Fine work there.
Horrendous.
Then out comes Stevie Ray. He says, Steiner, if you want to fight tonight, you can fight me. Scott Steiner goes, I retired your brother. You don't want any part of me. Stevie says, I came here to fight tonight. Get that punk-ass, jacked-up synthetic fruit booty in the ring, and let's get it on tonight, punk!
Jacked up synthetic fruit booty.
Right.
It's the best line ever.
Flair's trying to talk him out of it. You don't want to do this, Stevie. You don't want this match. Stevie Ray says, if this sad sack-ass fruit booty got the guts, punk, do to me what you did to my brother, you jacked-up fruit booty. I'm coming tonight to kiss your ass, punk!
Kick.
I was like, this is the best, what'd I say?
Kiss.
Whatever. Anyway, This was the best. This byplay between fucking Scott Steiner and Stevie Ray, of all people in the year 2000.
Yeah.
This was the best back and forth.
Yeah.
Name another one this year. Anybody.
Yeah.
I don't think The Rock and Austin. I don't think, like, Kurt Angle and anybody. These two fucking guys, when they were done, I knew this match sucked, okay?
Yeah.
I knew the match sucked. When these two fuckers were done cutting this promo on each other, I was like, I'll pay $50 right now for a taped TV match I'm already going to watch for free that I know sucks. That's how fucking good this back and forth was. It was awesome. Why couldn't Stevie Ray work?
It's sad.
It's a tragedy. Dear God Almighty, he was awesome here. He was so great. This segment was awesome.
The Boogie Nights want to hire Chronic to help them. They can't afford Chronic tonight. Chronic's price is too high. And so they leave. And that was it for Chronic on this show.
Disco can't even ask him for a price. Disco says, I'll give you a piece of paper. You write the price. Or maybe it was the other way around. One of them wrote the price down. The other side didn't like it.
Yeah. Chronic.
I'm like, you can't fucking say the number here. Are we buying a car? You have to write a number down on a piece of paper. This is so stupid.
Apparently.
He said it was 3 times what it had paid him that Disco paid him last time.
At this point in my notes here, I described Pamela Paulshock as Pam Patterson.
What?
I'm losing my mind.
You sure are.
I've gone stone cold crazy.
Yo.
She congratulates General Rection on his win. Rection thanks the fans and the Misfits. The games are over. It's time to get serious, says Hugh G. Rection. He calls out Bam Bam Bigelow. Chavo tells him to take no prisoners, and they storm off camera, and Pam Paulshock looks in the camera, and with all the sincerity she can muster in her doughy eyes, General Rection versus Bam Bam Bigelow tonight. It was amazing. Jimmy Yang versus Lance Storm.
I just love Lance's promo. I realize that Lance is our buddy and all, but no one has called me a fucking idiot more than Lance has in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And I am not afraid to call him a fucking idiot if he deserves it. But this goddamn promo, he says, I'm not going to make any excuses for last night, even though I fought with 4 broken ribs.
Yes.
I howled. By the way, he has 4 busted ribs.
That sucks.
But he didn't get it in a match.
Oh.
He was warming up, and he injured his ribs. Ugh. I don't know how. Maybe he took a snake eyes. I don't know. But that's the story.
There was a football player this weekend who, during warm-ups for the game, tore his biceps and was out for the year.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Well, when you're an athlete, sometimes
there's
things
wear and
just,
tear.
They're just waiting to go.
Yeah. So, Lance and Jimmy Yang.
The man kept calling Quang.
Yes. I don't know. He's trying to be funny.
I guess.
Lance, by the way, also warned General Rection, this isn't over. Some way, somehow, I'm going to get you.
I'm going to get you.
So they're doing this match. Leia Meow whips Major Guns in the ass with her cat of nine tails as Lance hits a cradle pile driver.
Yeah, in the ring. You barely saw it.
He stole Jerry Lynn's finish. And then the cat runs out, kicks a chair into Lance's face.
For the cartwheel kick.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Major Guns forgot to interfere at some point.
Entirely possible.
It was all messed up.
Yang gets the pin. The chair is just in the ring. The ref has to jump over the chair to make the count, and he still counts 3.
You know what's weird about the Shat? I called him the Shat in the 90s. And we go back and we started watching WCW again years ago. And when Ernest Miller first debuted, for like 3 weeks, he was totally fine in the ring. He was just doing his karate gimmick. Then he decided that he needed to be a professional wrestler, and off a cliff went the Shat.
Yes. It's more entertaining, though.
But I will say, I don't know how many years it's been, but finally in the second half of the year 2000, don't get me wrong, he ain't great, but he does not have go-away heat with me. His promos, I laugh every time. I love his promos. His wrestling is absolutely acceptable. I forget who he wrestled last week, but it was totally fine. He's almost, I can't not call him the Shat, but I'll at least call him the Shat Ernest Miller. He's earned that.
Wow.
Yes.
High praise, Brian.
I'm not putting him in the Hall of Awesome.
Okay.
I would stop you.
Yeah.
Same.
Lance confronts Team Canada for not helping him, especially the veteran Hacksaw Duggan.
I think they're trying to get Hacks out of this group.
You don't say.
Yeah, it's not working out. Stevie Ray is on the phone assuring somebody that he knows what he's doing and he's confident.
They're like, who could he be talking to?
Booker T, maybe?
It's fucking
And by the end of the show, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It could have been his Gardner.
It's true.
The Boogie Nights go to the Heresies and say, hey, we need some help. You want to be on TV? And they say, nah.
I loved it. They're like, why the fuck would we want to be on TV?
They haven't been on TV in months.
We're making all this money to not be on TV.
Flown all the way to, I think they were in Rockford, Illinois tonight. Do you want to be on TV? No. We're just kidding.
They offer to help for 2 drinks and 2 sandwiches. And when the segment's over, I'm like, these fucking dancing dildos. What absolute idiots. You get what you pay for. They're going to be fucked tonight. These guys are claiming they're going to do this for 2 sandwiches and 2 drinks. I'm just thinking of all the things that could happen. The one thing I didn't think would happen was the Harris twins help them win for 2 drinks and 2 sandwiches.
They're men of their word.
That was a swerve of the 2000s in WCW. Let me tell you something.
Didn't swerve.
That's one that even Russo didn't see coming.
Luger comes out for a promo.
Oh, my God.
So everyone on the show has talked about Goldberg beating him last night, but he begins here by celebrating. He's here. It says, I'm here to celebrate the end of Goldberg's winning streak and the end of his career. The announcers are all baffled.
He also said he rants about how awesome his life is.
His money, his homes, his cars.
And off mic, you hear a fan go, kill yourself.
That's not very nice.
I died laughing.
So, when none of that, he says, means anything to what he accomplished last night. When Goldberg speared Mickey J, he should have lost by disqualification. I have filed a formal appeal with the CEO, Ric Flair. Flair, you have vowed to restore the rulebook. I have read the rulebook, and Goldberg's out of here. The appeal has officially been filed, and Flair has promised me a result tonight. A limo arrives. There's a paid announcement from Jimmy Hart. I don't care anymore.
So dumb.
Mean Gene goes to interview Jeff Jarrett, who starts to be rude to Gene, and Gene is taking no shit. Gene calls him numbnuts, tells him to answer the damn questions or blow it out his ass. Those are quotes. Mm-hmm. Jarrett's taken aback by this, and he insults Gene back, but he's also impressed by Gene's moxie. So he answers the questions. He brags about beating Buff Bagwell at the pay-per-view. Imagine 2000 Jeff Jarrett cutting a promo about a pay-per-view, and it's exactly what you think he would say. He found out
those peppers.
He found out who the chosen one is and has all the struck around here. He cuts a promo on Rey Mysterio. He's fighting Rey Mysterio tonight. And in the middle of this, we find that he and Gene both start being distracted by thrown objects. Mm-hmm. The filthy animals are throwing eggs at them.
Yeah.
Funny thing was, it wasn't eggs.
What was it?
They claimed it was eggs. I'm not making this up. It was like ice.
If I were Jeff, better. I would rather have ice cubes thrown at me than eggs.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm
man,
Gene,
I left right when you did this Gene line.
Yes.
Damn it.
Well, Brian, do you want to pretend I didn't? You don't listen to what I say anyway. You may as well.
Jared tries his slapnuts bullshit and Gene cuts him off. Hey, numbnuts, I'm conducting the interview. Just answer the question or you can blow it out your ass. It's like, this is what I'm missing on Raw.
Yes. Yes, that's a good point.
Dude, there's a segment later. I'm just going to cut to it right now. I don't listen to you anyway. It's a Pamela Paulshock segment. And Pamela is interviewing Jarrett. Okay? So, Jarrett says something or other, and he wants the filthy animals in a 6-man, and he wants these slap asses. I know you're surprised he says that. He wants these slap asses on Thunder, and then he calls her Blondie, and he walks off, and she had the greatest look of disgust at the end. She was disgusted with this man, okay? Last night on Raw, Lana is cheating on Rusev with Lashley. Okay? Mm-hmm. She's filed a restraining order under their real names.
Right.
Okay. So, of course, Rusev is not allowed in the building. And later he shows up. He attacks Rusev. He attacks Lashley. The cops come out. They handcuff Rusev. And they're carting him away. Okay? Rusev breaks free.
Oh.
He knocks Lashley off the ramp and through a table.
Okay.
He then knocks one of the lighting grids, which falls off this Titantron and crushes and kills Bobby Lashley.
That's sad.
It was pretty cool.
Okay.
I loved it.
So later in the show, Charlie is interviewing Lana. She says, Lana, can you tell me how Bobby Lashley is doing? Okay? Because Bobby Lashley, he had shit fall on him.
Right.
He got squished.
Right.
So Charlie wants to know, how is Lashley doing? Lana then proceeds to talk about what an asshole Rusev is, how she wants him fired and sent back to Bulgaria. And then to answer the question, she says, Charlie, I just want you to know that I'm doing fine. Doesn't even mention how Lashley is who may have been killed. And when she says this, Charlie breaks into the biggest smile.
Mm-hmm.
And they cut away.
Yeah, she's a robot.
Why would you smile about this? Why? At least Pamela Paulshock knew that when the heel says something disgusting, you look disgusted. Right?
That makes sense, actually.
It's like she's not even listening to Lana.
I hate that.
Right. You should stop that.
Where were we?
she should stop that.
Vito is there with his sister. They're talking about whatever.
What the fuck is this? His sister
Yeah.
in Reno?
Right.
He goes into the dressing room, leaves her outside. 2 seconds later, Reno was there. Like, how Vito didn't see him, I don't know. And they leave to talk about whatever. Reno's arm is around her, I should add.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on, I wrote. This sucked.
They have a still shot of Bill Goldberg spearing the referee. Violent collision going on here. So the match turns out to be Jamie Noble and Evan Courageous versus Alex Wright and Ron Harris. And the Boogie Nights come out there. They have 2 sandwiches. They have 2 drinks. But Ron gets in the ring to wrestle. So Dawn sits down with 1 sandwich and 1 drink. And Disco sits down with the other one and eats them. So even though they demanded 2 sandwiches and drinks, they only actually received 1 of them.
I'm guessing somebody wasn't thinking.
So they do this match. Evan and Jamie, it's like their first match together on Nitro. They're already breaking up. Evan wants to dance. Jamie wants them to be serious. The Heresies work together. They interfere, hit an H-bomb on Jamie, and Alex pins him.
That's about it.
What a
Okay.
waste.
Kevin Nash and DDP go for a walk. And then they start airing the Glacier videos again. Our world is about to change again.
Do you remember where this
Blood
leads?
runs colder. Before we get there, they're playing it off as a joke because the announcers are saying right into the microphone, this has got to be a rib, don't you think? It can't be. So, Brian, tell me where this leads. I don't remember where it leads.
Glacier comes back, but he's a comedy geek.
All right.
He's an unsuccessful, failed superhero.
Yes.
That's his new gimmick.
Well, this is a gimmick before, but what's it supposed to be?
Well, before he was actually supposed to be a superhero.
I see.
This is better.
Well, we'll see.
It's better.
We'll see.
I am confident. Here's that limousine again. Ric Flair has to do a prepared statement. He's sitting at the one end of a meeting conference table. He is reading verbatim. He's trying to be serious CEO Richard Fleer.
It's not working.
No, it's very awkward. I had reviewed the tapes. Under normal circumstances, Lex Luger would be correct. It would be a disqualification. But what Lex Luger failed to mention is that he is the one who pulled the referee in the way in the first place. And they show clips of this with Lex's hands on the ref's shoulders about to pull him into the way. He says, I could disqualify Lex for putting his hands in that ref, but WCW is about winning and losing. I talked to Bill Goldberg, and Bill does not want the match to end in a DQ. So we will do a rematch at Starrcade to determine who is the winner. And we'll see if Goldberg's streak and career will continue. Didn't Flair last
Yes.
week say he didn't care about the streak anymore?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, let me tackle this next segment.
All right.
My favorite topic.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Nash and DDP come out for a promo, and they spend the entire time talking about Scott Hall.
Yes.
They give the fans a chant, "We want Hall." DDP says this company needs to smarten up and bring back Scott Hall. Mark Mann says, dude, just bring the guy back. More "We want Hall" chants. So, you watch this and you think, okay, well, they told everyone to stop mentioning Scott Hall. Now, there's a whole promo about Scott Hall. They must have made a deal to bring back Scott Hall. Incorrect.
Yeah, and on this company.
Didn't he get a DUI? Like,
He got a DUI that day.
okay.
Cool.
So they were furious with these guys. But it's Kevin Nash and DDP, so like nothing happened.
Exactly.
So Nash's music plays, and out come Sanders, Jindrak, and O'Hare. Kevin Nash says, the only way you can get a pop is to come out to my music, which was ironic because they didn't get a pop when they came out to his music. Sanders signs DDP and Nash versus Jindrak and O'Hare at Starrcade. DDP says, let's do it right now. Brawl breaks out. The ref rings the bell. This match was not good.
No.
DDP never botches spots, but when he teams with Nash, he botches spots. It's incredible.
This looked like an impromptu match.
It actually did.
And Page was a guy who didn't do impromptu matches. This looked like he was not prepared, and it showed. And then the other thrillers just run in and attack with bats.
Yeah.
The titles were on the line.
Yeah.
They lost
Yeah.
because of this.
I don't know what's going on.
And then the other tag team of the Natural Born Thrillers steals the tag belts. So I guess that was the plan. There's one team that has a higher slot in the faction, and they wanted the belts, not the B team. I guess. Gene interviews Stevie Ray.
So this started out great. Stevie calls Scott Steiner a sad sack crackerjack. Mm-hmm. He vows revenge for what he did to his brother. And then he says, come Starrcade, you may have no idea who's coming for you. It's like, isn't the title on the line tonight or your career? Like, you're doing a promo here admitting you're losing tonight?
And retiring.
What?
Reno versus Goldberg.
Goldberg's the greatest.
There's a spot in this match. Goldberg's killing him and killing him and killing him. But they've established on commentary, Reno is the master of the roll of the dice. That great finishing move. And they plant a seed in your head. Like, if he can just hit this one move, maybe he can pull off the upset. So Goldberg's destroying him with ease, pressing him 80 feet over his head and throwing him into the air. But when he goes for something, and Reno slips behind into perfect roll of the dice position. This is it. This is his one shot. Now, if you don't know the roll of the dice, Goldberg's
Who
down,
doesn't know the roll of the dice?
Goldberg's
It's
down
85 guys finisher.
that's true. He's on his knees, leaning backward, and Reno's got his head, like in a headlock. This is an impossible position to do any heavy lifting.
Yes.
Unless you are Bill Goldberg. In which case you can grab a 240-pound professional athlete and hook him up onto your shoulder from there with ease.
Freak.
This is like the most amazing thing he's done. From this angle. Spear, jackhammer win. Goldberg remains the best thing on Nitro, if any of you were
26-0 if you're keeping count.
I'm not.
Okay.
Wait a second, he was 20-0 at the pay-per-view. He got 6 wins?
That's what they said, 26-0.
Oh, my God.
So,
What next?
Luger attacks with a chair and puts Goldberg in the rack. Mean Gene is surrounded by the filthy animals, and his question begins.
Actually, as bad as the match was at the pay-per-view, Goldberg really did sell that rack. Something fierce.
Goldberg's awesome.
Yeah, he was great.
Mean Gene's statement begins. Filthy animals, I almost soiled myself over what you guys did to Jeff Jarrett. So Ray compares Jarrett to Gomer Pyle. Kidman makes a fart noise. It's a terrible
Are these guys
promo.
supposed to be baby faces?
I don't think so.
I think they are.
I'm not sure. Now, I will say, Ray was awful. Kidman was awful. Conan did say, Jarrett, you might have some personality if they turned you to the light and watered you once in a while. Okay, that was funny. That was really funny. And that was it. Bam Bam Bigelow versus General Erection. there was some convoluted thing at the pay-per-view where Bam Bam attacked Rection before the pay-per-view, before the Storm match, but Rection won anyway. So there's no heat for this match at all whatsoever, and then Bam Bam hits the chin lock. I like Bam Bam Bigelow, but unmotivated, not giving a shit Bam Bam Bigelow sucks. So Hugh decides to take this 380-pound, not giving a shit man and do a Northern Lights suplex. He follows this up by he goes to the top rope elbow and he misses, and he comes down not like on his back or on his side. He comes down missing an elbow with all of his own 300+ pounds on the point of his elbow. I thought every bone from his bicep down was going to shatter.
It looked brutal.
Oh my God. Bam Bam gets a table. AWOL takes the table away, and he hits Bam Bam and wins the moonsault.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yep.
Steiner does this promo. Says Booker T said that you'd have to kill him to take that title away. Well, he lied. That made me laugh. He doesn't give a damn who Flair gets to Starrcade. In fact, we'll find out right now. He goes out to this limousine. He opens the door, and a parade of women come out. And first, he's happy to see them because he's Scott Steiner. And then Smooth, the limo driver, gets out. Steiner says, "Who owns these ugly bitches?" And Smooth says they're Flair's women, and so Steiner destroys them.
Not the women.
No.
No, he destroys him, I should add. Yeah. Jeff Jarrett and Rey Mysterio, there was exactly one good thing in this match.
Well, say the one good thing.
Ray goes for the, I think he called it the Rough Rider, but it's the Bronco Buster like I expected.
Yes.
And as he's in midair, he comes down, and Jeff Jarrett does the best nut shot ever. As Ray's testicles land on the sole of Jeff's boot, and then Jeff launches him high into the stratosphere. And Ray's testicles go flying through the air, and Ray's body follows, and then they come crashing down to earth.
No, his body went first.
Well, regardless. He pushed him up by the balls.
He did. So, at the beginning of this show, they had this stupid presidential thing, and Jarrett hits this geek with a guitar. Then we have the skit where Gene Okerlund just tears him a new asshole. It was great. I was so celebratory. Then, before this match, Jarrett cuts another promo and calls us all slap asses. I'm so over this guy, okay? I couldn't be more over this guy.
You're not the only one.
Then he gets in the ring with Rey Mysterio. And it is Jeff Jarrett versus Rey Mysterio and all of these annoying, filthy animals.
Yeah.
And they're cheating
all over.
They're interfering right and left. He's fighting the odds.
Yes.
It's 1-on-4. Finally, at the end, after all of these run-ins, none of which are DQs, Jarrett grabs his guitar and he's like, "Fuck you animals." And he waffles Ray with the guitar. He gets DQ'd. He walks off. I was like, you guys deserved it.
Yes.
I had sympathy for Jeff Jarrett, the heel, because of how badly this match was put together.
The animals were interfering so often that the crowd was actually turning on them.
Yes.
And cheering Jeff Jarrett.
So blatantly. Ray and Tigress together gave him a double Rough Rider in their corner, the lewdest thing I may have ever seen. It was just... It was porn, let's be honest. And, yeah. Madden, the heel announcer, is asking, how was the ref not seeing this? Tony, the babyface play-by-play guy, says, I can't answer that. And then the guitars at EQ, Madden screams, this makes no sense. This was a terrible segment.
Yes.
Horrible.
And then Jarrett vows revenge. Jarrett, who I'm sure is a heel. I'm not sure the animals are babyfaces, but I'm sure Jarrett's a heel.
Right.
But he's still likable enough that he knows he can find two friends for a trios match.
Yeah.
And challenges them on Thunder. Another limo arrives. We get a video for Starrcade. Now, they don't have any matches yet. So they're just flashing wrestlers on the screen. And they're sweaty and snarling. And they're all dressed in leather or shirtless. And the words flashing across the screen, I'm not making this up, bizarre, dangerous, sexy. This is a different demographic that I thought was buying WCW pay-per-views.
I'm sure they were talking about Medea.
2000.
Okay.
So the match is Stevie Ray versus Scott Steiner.
Okay, I took copious notes.
Okay.
So
Really?
I could not. I was staring at the screen, jaw agape.
Yes.
Stevie attacks him in the entrance and beats him down, and Scott Steiner gets heat when Medeja hits Stevie with a pipe.
Right.
Stevie took the worst Irish whip into the barricade I've ever seen.
Yes.
Yes.
Then he did it again.
Yes.
Then he did it a third time.
Yes.
Stevie hits one kick, Steiner cuts him off. Stevie took the worst buckle ever.
Yes.
Right.
I wrote and I quote, "That's a lot of worst evers in this one match."
Yes.
Stevie makes a comeback, terrible super kick. The most slow motion knee. I'm not talking a goddamn V-trigger. I'm talking stand up and put a knee in their breadbasket. It's
Right.
the slowest knee I've ever seen. Hits the slow motion DDT. Medeja grabs his leg. I have no idea why, because he ain't moving very fast. He was already slow. Scott jumps him. Scott goes for a vertical suplex. Stevie is so blown up, he can't even jump.
Nope.
He gets brainbustered practically onto his own head.
Yes.
He hits the bookend. He's too slow to cover, which I think is a shoot.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He is so blown up. He crawls over to Steiner. He's on his hands and knees. He can't lower his torso. On his knees. Like a half push-up he can't do.
He was so blown up, he threw a kick, and Steiner had to catch the kick and apply it to his own belly.
Yes.
Stevie ends up outside.
This is amazing.
He hits Steiner with a chair shot directly in front of the referee outside of the ring. It's not a DQ. They get into the ring. Stevie manages to hit the pedigree, so he's able to jump and land on his knees.
You're Scott Steiner, and you're going to take a pedigree from this guy after he's shown he can't do anything. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He's crazy.
So I think he was supposed to hit the pedigree and start climbing.
Ah.
But for some reason, he was so tired, he just made a cover.
He couldn't climb.
And
Are you kidding me?
They're totally out of time, so Steiner kicks out at 1 from the pedigree. Stevie goes to climb. Stop right there. What was his plan?
Don't know.
What has Stevie Ray ever done off the middle or top rope?
No idea.
He starts to climb to the middle rope. Scott goes behind him, gets him in the
Electric chair.
falls back, damn near kills him. Steiner just falls to his death. He had no break fall, nothing. He's just dying. And then Steiner puts him in the recliner and gets a submission. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think here. I feel like there's one that was somewhat similar to this recently. But I'm trying to think of a match I was more excited for that was a bigger letdown. Wasn't there one just a couple of weeks ago?
I mean...
What was the one a few weeks ago? There was another one, but I think this one's worse.
Was it on the retro shows?
I think it was a retro match.
I don't remember.
Probably WCW.
I was not looking forward to it, despite how great the promo was. I had very low expectations for this match, and boy, did it fail to meet them. This, seriously, I'm thinking about this now, because everything that you described is still etched into my brain. Every detail. Like, I was way too kind to this at the time. This was a historically awful match. This is deep into negative stars. Does Stevie Ray actually think he was never going to wrestle again and stop doing any exercising at all? I apologize to Billy Gunn for saying he was blown up earlier. At no point in his life has Billy Gunn been as blown up as Stevie Ray was when this match began. He looked so blown up and unable to function, it looked like his first time in the ring ever. And think of how many horrible Stevie Ray matches we've seen and not had this reaction. This was Stevie Ray's worst match. Ponder that. So yes, eventually Steiner wins. Stevie Ray did not win the world title.
No.
He's retired, which clearly he wants to be anyway.
Sure.
And then Sid Vicious comes on stage for 3 seconds.
Yeah, they were so out of time. God, what was that other match that I was so excited and was just so absolutely awful?
There's no way. I'm trying to imagine.
I can't. There's no way it was worse than this. Like, it's impossible.
I'm just trying to imagine Stevie Ray trying to climb. I guess he did.
He did. He got to the middle rope. He got all the way to the middle rope because Steiner had to get underneath him to put him in that move.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for this music?
Let's do this.
All right, here we go. What's happening? Come on.
The finishes on this show were pin after interference that either worked great or backfired. I don't know. It depends on who they were trying to help. Pin after interference. Pin after interference. No finish after the referee gets laid out. Clean pin. Pin after distraction. DQ after a guitar is against the rules, but 3 people interfering is not. And submission after distraction.
All right. I'm sure as soon as this show goes up there, I'm going to remember what match it was.
That's usually what happens.
They were so...
Either that or you'll wake up at like 3:30 in the morning and say, damn it!
There's such a great build-up to it, and it was just absolutely just god-awful. Anyway. All right, we're going to wrap it up for today. Have a good Thanksgiving, everybody. Vinny and I are going to be back on Friday, not Thursday. We'll be back on Friday with the AEW NXT recap show. Got all sorts of great stuff.